Hello, everybody. Cashy King here. Got my chef to the left, Brendan B. Mikey Mall to my right. This is the Sports Goombahs. Coming to you live from the 515 studios, buried somewhere deep outside Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Home of the X. Chip potato.
Frozen tundra.
Frozen tundra, yeah.
18 degrees out right now.
Unusual. We are coming to you at www.sgshow.net. You can give us a call. Sports Goombahs hotline. You want to rant and beef tonight?
We'll give it a shot.
Pick your coach. pick a coach. 267-563-2893. 267-563-2893 is the Sports Goombahs hotline. We're also on Twitter at Sports Goombahs, Facebook. And don't forget, February 1st, Steam Restaurant. We were going to be broadcasting live in front of an audience of lunatics.
Could be you.
Hopefully you kill yourself. B, what's the address of that place?
606 2nd Street Pike.
Oh, yeah.
Southampton, PA.
Come there. Come early. Get a seat. Drink up. Eat up. Sports Goombahs go on at 8 o'clock. Not 9, 8. And we'll go to, I don't know, probably an hour, hour and a half, whatever. We'll see what the action does for us. We have a microphone set up there, too. So if you want to come up and question us, what we think, be my guest. How can they question us?
We only speak the truth here.
That's it. Unlike the other place. We don't, we're forecasters of the future.
What's that slogan? Talking sports and telling like it should be.
Telling like it should be. All right. We might as well get right to it.
Was there any news?
There's a little bit of news. I think when I left the studio last week and went home, went to bed and woke up in the morning, which I woke about 11 o'clock, and bang, Chip Kelly's gone. Fired. The firing heard around the world. All right?
Literally.
Literally. I don't think I've heard, other than O.J. Simpson, the O.J. Simpson chase, I don't think I've ever heard a sports news shoot out like this so fast on every channel, every sports channel, ESPN, and all over the place, so fast, like I did the firing of Chip Kelly. You would have thought this guy, I mean, you thought he would won multiple Super Bowls, had a mega amount of coaches under him.
The news of Bin Laden being murdered didn't spread quickly.
No, not a chance.
It really didn't.
Not murdered. Finished, whatever.
You look on the Facebook page, and it was nonstop. It was like
I completely avoided Facebook. I knew that going into it. I stayed off for 24 straight hours.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. But it's I don't know why it was so big. Is it because of the outlets that there are in sports now, or was this just so outrageous?
I think it was more because people didn't think it was going to happen. Because
no, wait, but you can't take the people. I mean, locally fine, but in general, for it to be such a news item to shoot out there from even local news stations, even national news stations at it,
even non-sports
right.
things are putting out there. Yeah, every website I went to, it was Chip Kelly getting fired, and I was just like, obviously we were all ecstatic. This is what we wanted. At least I don't know you guys. But
to me,
speak for myself, it's what I want.
Chip's been great for the show as far as material. Like he got us through the summer doing some of the crap he did. Oh my God. And then he goes out.
I'd rather win
than
have material. Because if you win, you have plenty of material on its own.
Yeah.
Look how good we are.
Yeah, that's right.
Look how big of a disgrace we were again.
Right. And for him to go out like this was even better. Now, what kind of material is that? I mean, he gave us this week. The NFL did pretty well for us yesterday. We could talk about the NFL for an hour. But, it went from him being fired to now who's going to fill in his spot. And that's even the bigger story when now it's not just the Philadelphia Eagles, it's a bunch of other teams in the NFL too, all, trying to get the next big thing out there.
And not even just that, it's also the way it happened.
Yeah.
When it was a Tuesday night.
Goes in after practice, comes out, he's gone.
And he was released.
Yeah, released.
He wasn't fired. He was released. What does that mean?
A bad conversation. To me, that's what that sounds like. He had a bad conversation
from all
with
the
Lori.
I've heard and things. Obviously, no one's really know for sure. But some of the people in the room was basically Lori said, you're giving up this, put control. Chip said, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
And he said, all right, you're gone. That's it. And the story. And that's the way it should have been. Yeah. And I think that's what we said here that, I don't know if we actually said on the show, and I don't know if we talked about it, maybe an off camera, but you have to just because you gave it to him doesn't mean it's his forever. If you're not doing well with it, you say, okay, look, we need that control back. We need final say back because you kind of screwed us a little bit. And Chip says, no, I'm not going back. And exactly what happens. You can say, all right.
I think if you look at it in that conversation, I don't know what went on there, but if you think about the way it might have gone down, it's like, well, this is only the first year I had this chance to control everything. I didn't get to organize my players, and my wide receivers and tight ends and backs dropped the football 85% of the time.
All people you chose.
Yeah, I'm getting to that, and that's probably what came back at him like that. And I think that with Lurie, with the conversation with Murray on the airplane and other things.
I don't think that has much to do with it.
Well, but I think Jeffrey's he's soft
because Lurie said I've had conversations with many guys. On the way home from games on the flight, I had to sit next to somebody. So I've sat next to people every game. No one made a fuss of it until it was DeMarco Murray.
Well, because in that game was a bad spot for Murray too. He got one carry, I think, that game, and it was, and they lost the game bad. It was an embarrassing football game. Like I said last week, I never saw a football team have so many embarrassing, games in one season.
And they always seem to be national TV games.
Right? Yeah, exactly. That's another thing.
On national TV,
right.
loss, blowout.
But even so, I don't even think I want to see Chip the coach anymore in the city. I mean, even if he gave up that, I don't
want to see Chip anything.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to see Chip the resident in Philadelphia.
The experiment's over. It's like you get to the point where, like I'm sure Jeffrey Lurie is like, yes.
I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure if the experiment didn't work or it didn't. Obviously, it worked the first year. It surprised everybody. Then he got rid of the talent. Who at times I didn't think he was wrong because I thought he was building something here. I mean, let's face it. When you're a coach, and like the problem they're going to have now getting a new coach is, does this new coach want these players? Okay, does he want DeMarco Murray? Does he want Bradford? You don't know. So that's another problem. That's another problem of getting a coach in here now. Mm-hmm. You have a team that's in a disarray right now with contracts, players, and attitudes.
Yeah, but if you run a normal human being offense, you're probably going to want DeMarco Murray.
Oh, no, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, you're right. Exactly. So that's the kind of coach they're going to get.
If you want to run a spread offense,
I'm sure there's a big whiteboard somewhere that says workable players I like, players that got to go. I mean, there's somewhere in there like, okay, example being, I don't know, some mid-grade, Peters, for example, who's hurt, not hurt, whatever. He's workable. You still want him, but he's in the workable category. And then there's players like Riley Cooper you're getting rid of.
Well, yeah, of course. He's awful.
So, I mean, you look at the team, down the line of the team, it's not a great starting point. There's not a lot to start with, but there's some stuff to start with. There's some things that you sit there and go, all right.
Well, every team in the league has something. Even the Browns, I'm sure, have something. I don't know. I don't follow them close enough.
Johnny.
I'm sure they have something. But the point is, like, what we have now, there's something, but 2 years ago there was a lot.
Exactly. I'm not disputing.
Yeah,
I'm just saying
going to
talking about what a guy's walking into, and that's what he's walking into.
Yeah, it's still not an awful job to take. You're taking over a job with a lot of question marks, for one, and secondly, you don't have a second round pick this year, so you're coming to a job, knowing you got that first pick, which is nice, but then you don't pick for another, almost 90 picks again, like, because Chip gave it away.
The only thing that a new coach has going for him,
coming quarterback, mind you, you're kind of handcuffed into keeping.
A new coach coming to this team has going for him is the division is still bad.
Yeah,
but
it's winnable.
It's winnable. I mean, I don't know if the Redskins are for real or they're a growing team. They got a quarterback who can play, and they got a coach looks like he knows what he's doing. And you look over in Dallas, and chaos and commotion in Dallas as usual. But that's what they like it. I mean, if you listen to Jerry Jones today, he'll tell you that. You get a healthy Tony Romo and Dez is coming back. We're the number one contenders in the East in his mind.
And I don't know what Jason Garrett has against him, what blackmail he has. He's not even on the hot seat in any way. Nope.
He said, "I'll buy." He's staying.
No, but he's a yes man. That's number one. I mean, Jerry can run that team.
Is his career record over 500?
It can't be.
I got to check. I got to look into that.
His first two seasons were well. I think his first
4-12 this year didn't help.
Yeah, 4-12. I mean, it's 4-12 for anybody, but Jerry's using the excuses. Oh, you got injured. We have injuries. Everybody, I have a quarterback this year. Well, you better learn in the NFL to get two quarterbacks on your team.
45 and 43.
Yeah, that's pretty much 500 there. So
that's the history of the Cowboys the last 25 years.
But anywhere else in the league, you're thinking like to yourself, okay, he especially coming off a 4-12 season. Oh, he may be gone. What's this? But him, no. Yeah. He's come back. He's 100%. Like, why? Why do you love him so much?
It's very simple. He Jones runs that team, and he tells them what to do.
One winning season. Yeah. Out of five full seasons. He's had one.
It's because the two of these guys, Garrett and Romo, in Jerry's mind, they still could win a Super Bowl together. This is like he thinks this is his Belichick here. You know what I mean? That he with these two, he wants to prove to the world.
Garrett's a local guy. I didn't know that.
I didn't know either.
He wants. Abington.
He wants to prove that he can win a Super Bowl with this group, and he won't break it down until he does, or it breaks down for him. Which to me, Tony Romo is done. He's when he's healthy, he can play, but he's not on the field enough anymore. He's a simple hit away from being knocked out.
I see Tony made an appearance on the show tonight.
Yeah, I laid him out here, not on a stretcher, but I just laid him out next to the Castle Public Adjusters banner there. By the way, Castle Public Adjusters, the sponsor of Sports Goombahs, 215-752-1237.
In a weather like this, you're going to have to give
them a call. Frozen pipes and that kind of stuff. Check them out at www.castlepa.com. Yeah, that's Tony Romo laying there. We used to hang him from the ceiling until he won a playoff game last year. Remember?
He still has a quarter on his neck.
That's just a reminder. You know what I mean? Keep him healthy.
He's still going to choke. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. To me, and then you hear about. I want to get off the subject. I want to get back on Chip a little bit, but you hear about Manziel not showing up. I mean, we're gonna have to depend on him for our material from now on because, we got to develop some new people out there. Because if Chip don't get back in, whoever Chip goes to, who can give a shit anymore? I mean, is there
any place you care whatsoever where he goes or no?
No, I don't care. When a coach leaves here, who cares? The only one you cared about was Dick Vermeil back in the day. You kind of like.
No, I'm saying, but let's say he goes, and I'm not saying it's gonna happen. Let's say he went to the Giants. Would you? At least
that'd be fun. Well, at least we know. At least we know what he's.
Would you at least give okay? All
yeah,
right, I got you.
That'd be okay because then we could do the fake injuries when he's running that offense down there. He's not running that offense. He's not going to Giants anyway. They may talk about that, but there's no way he's not a Manning coach. That's not the kind of you're not going to win that stuff with Manning. It ain't happening there.
You're not going to buy Manning rolling out for a bootleg.
He might end up in San Francisco. I don't think he ends up in Tennessee where they're talking about.
No, apparently Tennessee has zero interest.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah,
I don't know what it means to have zero interest.
Their players don't want that.
That's gotta. Mariota had to have some say at least, even if it doesn't. Even if they had to at least ask him, like, "Hey, what do you think about bringing him in?"
Maybe he doesn't want him.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I'm saying
he doesn't want
mean that.
Yeah,
like, I'm not saying they would have done what he said, but he would have at least your franchise player. You would have at least like, "Hey, what do you think of him? Would you want him here?"
What you're hearing from players on the Eagles is that they don't like this guy. This guy. See you later. Have a nice day.
Yeah.
Okay, we're tired of this college crap. And you think you go over to Tennessee and go do the same thing over there because you were the quarterback coach in college. I think if anything,
I'm saying I'm sure that if Mariota felt strong enough, you would at least heard reports. Mariota is pleading and begging.
Yeah. Nothing.
You're not hearing that.
Nothing at all.
No.
Yeah, have a nice day. He'll end up in San Francisco. If he ends up anywhere,
get Kaepernick for free. Instead of having to trade for him.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, there you go.
Get him for free.
Yeah, run him into the ground. I'm not too high on Kaepernick over there anymore, right? He can't throw.
Yeah, but if new regime.
Yeah, but
the ball game.
But is the talent there? Is that
talent's not there.
Kaepernick's problem is
we went over this on the fantasy show on Wednesday. There's not one 49er you wanted to see in your lineup. Not one. The offense was a bunch of misfits.
Yeah, that's a start over. That's a start over team still over there.
I think if I was Chip and that was my only offer, I'd sit out for a year.
Yeah, now
I wouldn't take because the only thing there.
He's got a lot of.
Let the stink wear off me. Come back next year with a whole crop of new.
What was his contract with the Eagles? He have another year, 2 years? Was it a 5-year deal? Was it a 5-year deal?
It was 5 year.
Yeah, so he's got some cash coming to him. He didn't quit.
He's
he'll be fine.
Oh yeah.
You know what he'll do? He'll probably do a show. He'll probably end up as.
I can't see this thing. Everyone typically goes to the booth.
In the booth.
I can't picture him doing that. He's not a talker.
Game day. He'll just sit there and smile.
Yeah, I liked it. Yeah, good game.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chip.
Well, he had his experiment. He came to the NFL. He thought he could use his college way, and it worked. That first year, we were like, that
first game in particular.
Yeah, I was totally, I was totally against Chip. When he came in, I was like, this guy's going to fail. The NFL will pick this guy apart. Week 6, he'll be done.
And even to extent last year, you were still a little.
Yeah.
You had your head in.
Yeah, but then then I started seeing what he's trying to do, and I looked at the players he's getting rid of. They were trouble players.
I don't know if it was the system as so much as the players because didn't have any. You got rid of all your good players. I don't care what their attitudes are. I don't care what they do.
That's coming out.
At this point, this city is starved for that title.
Jackson might be an idiot, but when the ball gets in his hand, he goes downfield with it. You know what I mean?
He's an idiot that can fucking play the game. You know what I mean?
I've mentioned this before. I could care less what you've done on or off the field,
not anymore.
Idiot-wise, and that now, if you have the right culture,
right.
It's a frowned upon word. If you have the right culture, you can get past that.
Here's a comparison. You look at guys like Jackson, McCoy. I'm not going to put Macklin in there because Macklin was a money thing.
Never did anything.
Yeah, it was a money thing. But you look at players like that, and what they do off the field doesn't hurt their team. Unlike Manziel, who just disrupts his whole team when it does. That's the difference when you break that line. Okay, that makes a difference in how a team reacts to you. But if you're doing stuff off the field, I mean, I didn't like it, but what do I? I'm nobody when it comes to that stuff. But as a player, when you see a guy doing that off the field and he's having a good time when he comes on that field, much like Grunk. Grunk goes off the field, acts like a great Grunk goes out. Yeah, what's that?
Call him Grunk.
From Philly, man. It's the way we talk.
No, no one talks like that.
Oh God, I got a freaking English teacher next to me here.
He's always going to correct.
I just think you should
figure that out yet.
I think you should pay Gronk the proper respect.
Gronk. Okay. Anyway, like I was saying, he goes out, has himself a good time. He gets, told he's a little too much of a party, but the hell does he care when he laces him up?
Because he doesn't really party until February 5th. Right. The day after the Super Bowl, pretty much. He does not going out partying mid October.
And if he is, we're not seeing it.
No, you would see it. Trust me. That guy, there's a camera wherever that guy goes.
And that's what I mean. So,
but he still finds a way to have fun. Because how many the Gronk boat party and how many I don't know if you saw the commercial.
His brother's on now.
Yeah, he's got a bunch of commercials and late show appearances. He's still finding ways to have fun.
Yep.
But he's doing it without making an ass of him and his
so
team.
much easier to have fun when you're a winner too. Your focus can be on whatever you want to do, and people are paying you to do whatever you want. He's actually on TV right now. Other than, I think he's the one you see the most on commercials now. I think he overtook Aaron Rodgers. And who's the other guy? J.J. Watts. What a great game yesterday, man. Watt. He took care. I'm fluorocizing on him.
He was all over the place, so it seemed like there was more than one.
Yeah, that's right. It's pleurisy. J.J. Watts.
Two J.J. Watts on the same defensive line would win a Super Bowl. Well, just those two.
Listen, the way he played yesterday,
and the rest of the Eagles defense.
I mean, he did it for Houston yesterday, man. He got it done as one defensive player. Nobody since Taylor's been able to do stuff like he does out there. Can he get them to the Super Bowl? Can he beat Kansas City next week?
Vegas doesn't think so.
No, I think so.
They have the longest shot. of anyone.
I'm telling
60 to 1.
Load up on Houston. Load up on Houston. No. Load up on Houston, man.
They just started Brandon Whedon for 3 games. He got cut from the Cowboys. He got cut from 4-12
Wait, that's the same Brandon Whedon?
That's the same Brandon Whedon, yeah. The guy who couldn't hack it for the Cowboys just started for a team in 1 games for a playoff team.
He started quarterback there?
Oh, he eventually, because Hoyer came back from his injury.
Okay, Hoyer's back. They got, you know what? Andy Reid will screw this up somehow. He'll mess this up.
I'm leaning towards you. You're thinking it too.
Andy Reid will mess this up. He's so excited right now he can't even sleep. He's back in business. He's back in the NFL playoffs.
Vegas is listening.
Unfortunately, he still has to go past Brady and Manning, so he's going nowhere. You know,
Vegas is listening, and they're going to flip it now that they just realized what you said.
Come on, man! Look who's coaching in the playoffs. You know, so. Anyway, back to Philly. Of course, now we got to rebuild a team here, which is going to take another couple years to get something organized. I don't think they could make the playoffs next year by accident in this division, but moving forward past the teams that I saw playing in the last couple of weeks, I mean, you look at Seattle. They're a juggernaut right now. I mean, they're not just beating teams, they're beating up on teams. And what they did to Arizona yesterday was no joke. And they kept on doing it to Arizona. And Arizona at home could not answer to them whatsoever yesterday. It was like a week ago, I was talking about Arizona being the best team in the NFL because of what they've been doing. I see what Seattle did to them. I'm like, whoa, God forbid they had to go to Seattle.
They tried to cover it up by putting the backups in the game. That's kind of one of those, like, we did try it first,
right?
But you're kicking our ass. So now we're just doing the whole, we weren't trying.
No.
Everyone plays
Seattle's been in sync for a while now. They're dangerous right now. Carolina, I mean, they lost 1 football game all year.
Well, if you want to look at the opening round matches of the playoffs, what we have is for the NFC, Seattle goes to Minnesota. I don't have the line in front of me. I didn't pull up the line, but Seattle's got to be the favorite.
I like that. That's part of my play. I got all the games and the plays. I'm going to put out some football. See if I can lose some more NFL action.
I'll hold off on our playoff predictions.
We'll hold off on that.
Getting back to the Eagles real quick though. We always kept saying all season whenever it was, what about Sam Bradford? Do you want him back? Do you want or this? It's always, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. Well, the season's over now, so you have everything you're gonna see from Sam. Do you want him back?
What? What's the alternative? That's what I'm afraid of. I can only say that when I know who's coming to run the show here. Really, I look at that. If I'm going to get a brand new coach, and I don't know. I don't know. See, to me, everybody says, well, Bradford this, Bradford that. He started playing well at the end. He wasn't making mistakes. But The big picture is this guy doesn't stay on the field enough. Okay, he's a simple hit from going down. I don't think he's tough enough to have any longevity to be a quarterback that you're going to say he's going to be for the next couple of years, 3 or 4 years. I don't see it, and his track record says that right now.
Now,
so,
I don't know when the decision has to be made on free agents. I should probably actually look into that. And I hate to use the thing because we've said all year, wait and see. I had to say wait and see. That's my answer and that's not for obviously his plays over. You've seen everything you're going to see there. You have to wait to see the draft. Yep. There's only two. It's a 2 quarterback draft really, and that's Paxton Lynch from Memphis and Jared Goff from California. Those are the 2 franchise quarterbacks. At 13, I've seen mocks having one of them fall.
And they're not considered franchise. They're the best coming out this year. But a lot of people won't say that they're much to them.
I consider them franchise. I think they're both great players, to be honest. So if you're at 13 and one of them's still on the board, you grab it and then you wipe your hands clean of Bradford.
Yeah, absolutely. What's the difference?
If one of them is not there, you have to bring Bradford back. You absolutely have to bring him back.
I don't think they can.
If you don't, what's your alternative?
If I was Bradford, I wouldn't come back to this situation.
That's what I think. I don't know. Yeah. Can you wait till late April to make a decision on free agents?
He's going to get some bucks. In this NFL, you look at the quarterbacks. Teams need quarterbacks. Regardless of what they think of him, he'll get money. He'll get better money elsewhere, I think. I don't see right now.
It's not about the money, so it's the years really at this point.
Yeah.
This is his last probably major contract.
Right. He blew the fur. He could have signed for a lot more, in the beginning of this year.
If the deal was real.
If the deal, well. Now they're going to say it's real.
It's all legend.
His agent's going to say that deal was real. But you got to wait to see what Kirk Cousins signs for because he's a free agent too.
He's restricted.
Well, but he's going to get a new contract. And give him a new contract. And who else? There's somebody else out there who's going to I forget who else is. There's another quarterback, a young quarterback out there who's got to sign too. But anyway, Cousins is the one you're looking at because he's a surprise. What about RG3? Is he a player anymore? Or is he just totally done football?
You're taking a resurrection on him. You're not banking like, okay, we're gonna go into this offseason, we're gonna get RG3 and that's gonna
didn't play at all this year, right?
No, he didn't take one snap.
Like one snap. And he was capable.
I'm trying to pull up the quarterbacks. The best other free agent quarterbacks, Ryan Fitzpatrick. Not young.
Not after that game.
That's what I'm saying. But there's really not much out there.
He's been in the league, 8 years?
Who, Fitzpatrick?
Fitzpatrick, yeah.
I think like 10 years.
10 years, right? And that was just one shot to get into the playoffs.
It would have been his first shot.
Yeah.
But the rest of the guys, Osweiler is a free agent, but I'm pretty sure he's restricted as well. Cousins is a free agent.
What's the thing about Osweiler? He's a quarterback that might not. Well, I don't know if Denver's sold.
I don't know if Denver's going to get rid of him though.
Yeah.
Everybody else out there is literally just retreads. It's the Drew Stantons, the Chad Henneys, Matt Schaub, Matt Castle.
Yeah.
So it's clear cut. Sam Bradford.
It's a backup. It's a backup free agency. That's what it is.
The only 2 starters out there of the non-restricteds are Bradford and Fitzpatrick is a starter. He's easily a starter in the NFL, obviously. So those are the only 2 starting quarterbacks out there. So like I said, if you don't bring Bradford, you're basically saying Fitzpatrick for a year. And I'm fine with that if you're drafting a quarterback, bringing a 1-year placeholder
personally
to mold the rookie. Have the Harvard guy mold the rookie.
Unlike most Philadelphia Eagle fans, I'm willing to be patient on this thing. I don't care. You know what I mean? I want a brand new quarterback like the McNabb years. We got our first round quarterback or whatever, somebody brand new, and we molded him with a coach.
That's a top 5 pick.
Yeah, but like
we didn't bottom out for a top 5 pick. We wanted to.
Yeah.
Now we're in that teens.
But we got number. I think they said we get number what? 13. Yeah. 13th pick, and one of those 2 quarterbacks won't drop, right? Maybe
I've seen a couple of mocks where they do.
Yeah.
Because a lot of teams in front of us either already have their franchise quarterback, or they're not they're not going to get one. Like in real life, yes, the Cowboys need a quarterback. They're not going to get one.
They're not.
They're not going to do it. They need what the Giants. The Giants probably need a new quarterback for the future. They're not going to do it. Same thing with the Chargers. Right. So a lot of these teams aren't going to do it.
Not going to waste next year to do it. Yeah. Well, to me, I would take the best possible quarterback at the spot that I'm going. I don't know. It's like you said, the free agency is so bad out there. You get what's on free agency now out in the NFL is no better than Bradford, like you said. So there's no sense. But the money might change your mind on that one because Bradford's going to he's going to go back and look. Well, look what I did the last 7 games. Even though they lost half the football games, look what I did. I didn't make the mistakes. My defense sucked. That was the whole problem. So that's sellable in a conversation. Look what I did. And Bradford's looking pretty good. He's putting the ball. He does it.
For the record, all player their contracts expire March 10th. So it's a full month and a half before
Yeah.
the draft.
Well,
So you need to make up your mind on Bradford before that, which sucks.
And well, hopefully they'll wait for the coaching situation until we have our show over at Steam, so we can have a big party there for the new coach that night. And the way the Eagles are vetting new candidates, I figure I'm trying to figure they must have a list of 50 because just the ones that are mentioned. Yeah. I mean, they did Deuce and then they did Deuce and Shermer today, right? Two people.
I don't know they did 2 and 1. Deuce was a couple days
Deuce,
ago.
yes, a couple days ago. But that those two aren't in it. The first ones are never there. They're just that's just do me a favor, give me an interview so I can put it on my resume. I was interviewed by the Eagles at one point.
Well, you naturally have to interview Shermer because he literally is the acting head coach,
right?
And he won, so you're gonna buy. Deuce was just that was a favor.
Yeah, Deuce is a favor, and the fact of the matter is that Deuce is going to be here regardless. He's a Philadelphia Eagle, so whoever comes in is going to have him doing something here, just like the last two coaches did.
Ball boy.
Yeah. He balances the running backs. But if you look at the list, it's everybody's on that list. I'm on there. The chef's on there. I heard you know you were on there.
I didn't get a call.
Hey, listen,
not yet anyway.
It depends on what
they listened to one of our shows and they took him immediately off the list.
But it's almost the joke of it is that's the joke of it that every outlet and it's almost.
But that's a good thing.
Yeah, I know, but it's almost sad if you listen to them.
Listen to everybody.
You listen to all the heads, the know-it-alls in the NFL. Everyone has a different guy. Everybody's throwing whoever they can against that wall so they can say, "Yeah, I knew the guy. I knew who was going to be there."
We put a couple polls out there on our Twitter at Sports Goombahs, and one of them was we asked, "Do you want Sam Bradford back in 2016?" Surprisingly, 76% said yes. Yeah. We also put one out there for the new Eagles coach. Do you want retread, somebody who's been head coach before? Do you want a brand new, a coordinator type guy? 57% said a new guy, new fresh face.
Yeah, really.
So that's the people.
I'll tell you what, but in this town, if you said you could have Gruden, everybody would say, yeah, bring him in. Bring that craziness in. Bring that tough guy attitude, whatever. Get him in here, and he'll straighten stuff out. And, of course, he'll do well with the quarterbacks. That's for sure. Personally, I'd love to see him come out of the booth. I know he's not going to do it. Yeah, it's every time every team talks about this when they change their coach. It's always Gruden.
He would need that opportune
scenario,
not rebuilding the Eagles. No.
Yeah,
he would need to walk into.
He'd be good for TV. He'd be good for us.
The new LA team.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
the Patriots.
He'd be good at the podium.
I would see him go to the Giants before I saw him come here.
Yeah, well, he's got ties here. He started his
but New York, bigger stage, and they're not as big a mess.
He got Eli Manning for a couple of years. I'll take him, and we'll win a couple Super Bowls. Yeah, And I got that greatest show on earth with Odell Beckham.
Got Odell Beckham, man.
That Odell Beckham, he gets it done.
Is it Gruden or Hulk Hogan? It sounded like right there.
Brother. Did you say brother?
No.
I mean, brothers on
yeah. Couple.
Got Eli Manning slinging the rock.
That's the Macho Man.
Oh, that's I'm mixing them
May
up.
rest in peace, Macho Man. Right? Then he buy it?
Yes.
Kick the bucket.
Kick the bucket. Yeah. Funny.
Heart attack while driving, by the way.
What's that?
Talk about a shitty way to go. Heart attack while driving, which led to a car accident.
His wife went too, right?
No, his wife's still alive.
Yeah, no, Elizabeth? Yeah. No, Elizabeth is dead.
Oh, I thought I didn't know you meant the free. Yeah,
yeah.
She died in like 98 or something like that. A while ago.
No, I don't know. I'm just catching up on all this shit right now.
Just fine. Breaking news to Cashy right now.
What do you mean, Macho Man's dead?
It's funny, actually. I saw somebody on my Facebook. He shared a link about who was the former Eagle player, Andre Waters. He killed himself. And he shared a link about him committing suicide and said like, "Oh man, shaking my head. He was so good. Like R.I.P. brother." I'm like, dude, this happened like 6 years ago.
I think it was longer than that.
like he was like sharing, like, "Oh man, this is such a sad story to hear." I'm like, dude, this happened half a decade ago.
Somebody just went and saw Concussion.
You probably did.
Yeah, right,
you probably did. He's like, "Oh man, I can't believe what's happening."
Did they mention him in that movie?
Yes.
Yeah, he's in there.
I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard a couple of reviews. Heard it was very good.
Yeah. Will Smith's up for Academy Award in that one.
Now, if we're looking for Eagles, next Eagles head coach, I've got a couple of names. I'm gonna throw them out there. I want to see what you guys think. Either yes, no, or we'll see. One of the main names being thrown out there is former Eagle great Doug Peterson. Andy's offensive coordinator.
We were speaking before the show, and I said that's who I think.
Is that you think, or is that what you want?
That's what I think. I look at the organization. Mm-hmm. Hockey term organization. I look at who's doing the picking here. Okay, this is the same same type of crew. This is like, this is Joe Banner, a disciple. Howdy Doody Roseman here. Okay, so I'm thinking back the same way that they were thinking back when they got Andy Reid. They're going to first of all, there's still a relationship between Reid and Lurie here. And this is
I hear him like they talk about him on the radio now. We have such fond memories how great he was. And
Yeah.
3 years ago, we wanted him to burn in hell.
Gone.
Like we literally said, if you could choose between $1 million or punching him in the face, people would have chosen.
Here's what I could see in that situation. I could see, Lurie having a conversation with Andy Reid and their brain trust, all talking about how Peterson knows the system and he's grown with the team. He's been with Andy Reid forever now. He brings Don McNabb, which in Lurie's eyes, we know it was over the glory years. Oh, remember McNabb? We had 5. I
feel like Reid has been grooming Peterson for like 2 decades.
Yeah, well, and in that mind, Jeffrey Lurie said, well, you know what? No one else is going to look at this guy. We can get this guy for a right price. Okay, we won't have to change the team too much. Let him come in here. Let him work with the quarterback, see what happens, and see what the draft, and try to build around him and have his organization, because he wants evidently he doesn't want a GM. Or you heard inklings out there from ESPN that Mortensen says, and he knows everything.
He's confident they're going to hire.
He's 100% confident. He said.
No, he did back it down. He said 99.
You heard the same. Yeah,
he backed down.
99.
He backed off that.
Yeah, right. Now he forced them all that one. So you look at something like that, and you think, I don't think there's a GM who wants to come here with this group. Who wants to have Howie Roseman telling them where, when, and how? Because I personally don't think he's a football guy. He's a bean counter. Okay, and he was like that, and that's why Chip Kelly couldn't stand him. And I don't think Reid had a whole lot for him in the last year that he was here anyway. So, I think if you're a good coach, you want to come into a situation where you got a general manager who's a football guy. Got to be. You have to go that way. You have to do that. Yeah, I know it's the salary cap, stuff like that. The hell with it. It's all done on computers anyway. You don't have to be a genius to do this stuff anymore. You plug in the numbers. And
you need Jennifer Gardner.
Yeah, that's it. That's all you need. You need her standing there, and he's exactly right. You need those. And what she do, she pushed the buttons. You gave her the stats. She put it in the machine. She came back.
How much more do you have left? All right, thank you.
$7 million. Oh yeah, we can get that. I can fit that in.
So that was a long-winded answer. Do you want Doug Peterson as your head coach?
No.
How did we get on to GM?
Well, I was just
getting back to where our GM is thinking.
Is this the same Doug Pederson?
Our GM, whatever.
Is this the same Doug Pederson that Mel Reese never said the right?
Yeah, right.
It was always Pederson.
It is.
He's looking.
Yeah, is it Pederson?
Well, it's spelled with a D, not a T.
I know, and that's why I thought it was funny.
Well, it's DRS.
Now, Doug Peterson does have some head coaching. People always say he has no head coaching background, but he does. He was a high school head coach for 4 years. Took him to 4-state playoffs.
That's key.
There you go. He knows what he's doing.
See, in Lurie's mind, I was like, whoa, there you go.
Wow, he was 33-7.
There it is.
Coach. I don't want Peterson as a coach. So.
No, he really don't. He doesn't make me go, wow. He doesn't excite the
Definitely
fan base.
Definitely not a wow factor. Like I said, you're not bringing in Brett Favre. You're not bringing in somebody with a sexy career. You're bringing in a career backup.
You're bringing back Andy Reid's way of playing football, so that's got to go. You got something to do here.
We ran out of town. You ran out of town. The guy who originated or whatever, was the main guy for his disciple. Like that makes no sense to me. Number two, another guy who actually has an interview lined up, former Bills coach Doug Marrone. Any interest whatsoever?
No interest whatsoever. No? A former Bills coach.
He's the guy who willingly walked away. He had an out in his contract where after the first or second year he could leave on his own and get full pay, and he did it.
I really like to have a guy who's been to the show.
I like to have a guy who didn't willingly walk away from his first head coaching job. A guy who you think would be so excited to take you.
That's what I'm talking about.
I'm out of here.
That's what I'm talking about. The bean counting.
You mean I can get paid to do the same?
Why does this guy even get an interview? I mean, they're not going to hire him.
He already works for us, I think. He's like one of our coaches or something. I think.
Is he really? See, I don't even know that.
In the immortal words of Bugs Bunny, what a maroon.
It's maroon.
Exactly.
I'm going to see. I think Doug Marrone. No, he's actually a Jaguars assistant, so he's not here. Next up, we already kind of touched on it. John Gruden.
Yes, Gruden dog.
Would you do anything?
Yeah, anything. Get him in here. Get him on the show.
Get him on the show. Okay, that's all it'll take. A guy who has an interview lined up. The Bears offensive coordinator Adam Gase.
Well, he's the fancy guy right now.
Yeah,
he took orders from Peyton Manning, and he rated what's his name. Who's quarterback for
Cutler?
Cutler.
Yeah. How do you write Cutler?
I know he should be right.
$100 million quarterback. You write him and you still finish with 6 wins.
That's I don't get it.
I don't see. I mean, everyone is talking about Adam Gase like he's some kind of genius, some kind of the next big thing.
If you're sitting there with Peyton Manning, if you're coaching Peyton Manning,
they call him the quarterback whisperer. That's literally what they call him. Yeah,
that's because Manning whispers in his ear what you got to do and what we're going to do. So just write it down so we have a record of it.
So yeah, he was a Broncos quarterbacks coach and then offensive coordinator before going to the Bears and following Fox. So basically, you sat there and watched Peyton Manning play football, which any one of us could have done. You didn't call any plays because Peyton does it himself. Right. Then he went to the Bears and you won 6 games.
Bullshit. That's what it is. Next.
And now, next. Yeah, exactly. So that's a big rousing no for everyone.
Yeah.
The guy we said who had an interview, Deuce Staley.
I feel bad for the guy, but no. Because he was part of the chaos that was here.
You have to be at least a coordinator before I can just
Here's
do
the thing.
Yeah,
well, and first of all,
running backs coach.
Yeah, when
you're gonna go from bellboy to running the hotel,
you can't be the guy who put in the running backs for this team this year and didn't use Murray.
First of all, when weren't you the one getting thrown on the bus the entire season?
Yeah.
I don't make a decision. I don't make it.
Full guy.
Deuce does it.
Yeah,
I'll do it.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then Deuce did a horrible job. So
and he said that a couple times, and it bothered me. I said, Kelly, how could you say that? You're running backs. You're blaming your running backs coach. I mean, come on. You just say, you tell the coach you were running Murray for the next 10 plays. End of story.
Yeah, you just tell him, okay, you lost your privileges because you're not doing good enough with it, so I'm going to take this over.
Listen, Kelly didn't like Murray. Let's remember one thing, not to get off it, but Kelly took Murray because he's going to be part of a deal to be made to get his quarterback, and it didn't happen. So
they don't. You can't even do that. Yeah. No one does that. Guy who had his interview today, Pat Shurmur. I wouldn't hate it.
No, I like the guy, but I
wouldn't hate it. But again, it's not sexy.
It's not. Where you going with it?
No.
Once again, if you're gonna get Pat Shurmur, you gotta have to get a defensive maven out there now and now you have 2 coaches running the team. I want one solid guy who rules with an iron fist, but he pets his players.
There are 2 guys who have interviews lined up or later in the week. One's the Lions defense coordinator Terrell Austin. You know anything about him at all?
Yeah, I saw his picture in the paper. That's about it.
So I think it's a big strong no for you.
Come on,
man.
The
Lions had a really good defense.
Yeah, that's great. Where'd they end up?
He's a hot coordinator.
No, at this point, I want somebody offensive minded.
Well, now that'll be the next guy for you, Bob McAdoo from the Giants. Giants offensive coordinator.
No.
You know why?
Giants had a good offense. Yeah, it wasn't the offense the problem. It was the defense.
They got weapons that made his offense. Throw the ball up to Beckham. See what happens.
Yeah, he's a head case. After that, after Beckham, let's be real. After Beckham, they had nothing. They're running backs. Name any of their running backs right now. Name any one of them. Name any one Giants running back.
The guy that ran good yesterday for him. I forget his.
Exactly. You forgot his name.
He was their running back.
There's Jennings. There's Vereen.
That's Vereen. Yeah.
Darkwa, I believe was one of the names.
Darkwa. Oh yeah, Darkwa.
Yeah, exactly. They all stunk. Name one receiver after Odell. Name their tight end. Name somebody on the roster offensively other than Manning or Beckham.
Well, Cruz was on the bench.
Randall
was the other wide receiver.
We got one.
You
know tight end?
Tight end is at number 45.
Die.
Right.
See,
I knew he's over.
These aren't good people, and they had a good offense. So like I said,
number 45.
I like McAdoo better than I like Austin. Last 2 names are big name guys. One of them is still out there, Mike Shanahan. Apparently, he has the itch to coach again. Would you like it or no?
What did he do with the Redskins? He quit. Right?
I'm pretty sure he got fired.
Yeah, but I mean, he quit. He kind of like he took out.
He knew he was getting fired, so he ran RG3 into the ground.
I don't need that kind of guy.
You have a torn ACL? That's fine. Get out there.
Yeah, well,
I'm not going to coach next week anyway. It's not my problem.
He's old school stuff. I don't know if I want to go. I still want the young. I want the young guy, but I want the young guy who's been around. He's been a part of a Super Bowl team. He's been hard.
I already tried that. I made my case for both of the Patriots coordinators, Patricia and McDaniels, and apparently we have no interest in either of them.
I don't know why McDaniels is not an interest, or he's even leaving.
Well, I know you can't talk to them, but you can at least talk about them, right? Can't you? Is that tampering?
I don't know I don't know the rules of that.
But even if they couldn't talk about them, I'm sure Schefter would have. I'm sure all these guys would have said, the Eagles have high interest in so-and-so, but they can't talk to him. So I don't know why they're there. And the final one, who is a realistic possibility, you need to pay for him, though, Sean Payton.
Yeah, that's
That's the sexiest play of all of them.
I think so, too.
Outside of Gruden.
I don't think he's coming.
But would you pay? What would you pay for it? We've seen the price for coaches. You have to give him at least your 2nd-round pick next year.
Yeah, is he going to – do we have a 2nd round next year?
Next year, yeah. We lost it this year.
This year, right. So, he's – I don't know. When was the last time a coach was –
I have a strong rule of – well, no, if you have a coach under contract, you can't – if you're not going to fire him, you got to trade him.
Right.
So I mean, we all obviously remember the Gruden trade, 2 firsts, 2 seconds.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I love Peyton. I would love to have him here. I'm not giving up any talent on the field.
Not for no.
So
it doesn't make any sense. Not in what's going on with the Eagles now. They can't afford to do that at this point. You have so many holes that have to be cleaned up. That's why you got to bring a coach in who's going to, I'd personally like to see the whole thing cleaned out and start over again. I have the patience for that.
Too.
Coaching, everything. Just start this thing over, because that's the only way. If you look at the winners,
the problem is you can't really start it over because you have so much money tied up.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying what I'd like. You got to go back to, other than the New England Patriots. No, every other team who's been at the top has started over. Brand new quarterbacks, brand new coaches, rookies. They run the whole thing up and they build it to a system that works. And let's take Seattle, for instance. Seattle, a great. As much as I hate that coach, he's got some good talent on that team. He's got players. He's had a 5-year run already with that crew. All right, he's done pretty good with it. And same thing with Carolina's coach, who used to be here. It's a shame he's not here. Ron Rivera. Shame he got away. And of course,
you're going to mention. Surprised you're not hearing anything about McDermott either.
Yeah, I was just going to bring that up.
We heard a lot about McDermott. I've heard about McDermott all day.
The Eagles?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He's definitely on the radar from people.
Not even in the know. I haven't heard anything.
I didn't see you. You didn't say Hugh Jackson either.
No, right? Apparently he's
the actor.
Hugh Jackson, not Jackman.
Okay.
Make it a joke, babe.
I know. This is the reason
he made a funny.
That's a sexy name.
They tuned out when heard him say Hendrix that one time.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Hey, never mind. Go.
All right. I'm sorry, Mr. Reference.
All right. Now McDermott's somebody I would take. I don't have a problem with him.
I don't know.
He's with a team that's winning. I want to see what happens at the end. I want to see what McDermott does with this defense in the playoffs, because Carolina, I'm
also never a huge fan of people who never really got it done before until they went somewhere that already had talent. Like if I was an offensive coordinator for a team for a couple of years and I wasn't very good at it, but then I went to the Patriots, like I didn't really do anything. I just went to a great team and got a good look. The Panthers defense has been good for at least 5 years now before we got there.
Here's the thing.
You had Kuechly and you have all these these D-backs.
That's true too. That's a good point.
So I don't know if I would trust that guy to come in here.
Here's what I'm thinking. I said it before. I want a guy who's been to the show. I want a guy who's been on a Super Bowl team, or at least been to the Super Bowl team, because he has that experience. He knows how to get there. He's gotten there, regardless.
Yeah.
So I got to look at the Patriots. I have to look at Seattle. I got to look at the teams that have been there. I mean, you can say, okay, you can look back at the Giants, or you're going to look back at Green Bay or whatever. Not as much Green Bay. Green Bay they're out of coaches, I think.
Who, Green Bay?
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know who their assistants are over there. But you got to look at. I look at the teams that have been to the top. That's exactly how the Eagles did it with Andy Reid. He looked at the Packers winning the Super Bowl. He looked at Andy Reid being a part of those 49er years back in the day. I don't think was he with the 49ers? Reid. Who? Andy Reid, did he start? Did he make his way up?
No, he started the Packers.
Started the Packers, right. He's part of that gold standard that we were supposed to have 15, 20 years ago. So you look at coaches who have been there. They've done it. And plus he was with Brett Favre, so that was more exciting to him too, to have a coach that's been with a player like that. So I would go with I would go with somebody, if you can, with the Patriots.
That's why with
the Broncos.
Obviously, I mentioned Patricia and Dan McDaniels. I would take anybody. I would take their. I don't even know quality controlled coaches do.
Yeah, anybody who's a part of that team. Grab
somebody who knows knows
how to
be
cheat.
A winner. Yeah, exactly.
Fill footballs and get away with shit.
Get their cameraman.
Get away with shit.
Practice camera guy.
And you can pick Belichick's ear if you want, because you're with him. It's not in the same.
I have a feeling that when you leave Belichick, he probably shuts you off emotionally. He probably just writes you. Yeah, you don't get Christmas cards. If you text him, he says, "Who's this?" Got a new phone. Who's this?
Yeah, right. That's right.
And damn well it's the same phone. I see Belichick as that kind of guy. I feel like that's the kind of Chip.
Dead to me.
Chip would be like that same way too.
You're dead to me.
Yeah, that's funny. You're exactly right.
But here's another question though: is the Eagles' job really that desirable?
Not if I was a coach. I don't see that being the most desirable one out there.
Like right now, there's 6 actual open jobs. Still a couple ones that could be open. And of the 6 that are open, you tell me, is Eagles, Giants, Titans, Niners, Browns, and Dolphins.
You look at the Dolphins and the Niners. I mean, the Dolphins, first of all, you get to play in Miami.
The only problem with the Niners is look at the top of that division.
Yeah, that's not.
You got a big mountain. You got 2 big mountains to
climb. Need a couple more years to let that thing ride away a little bit. I think that the Dolphins, they
I don't think it's a bad job.
No. First of all, you're Miami.
Yeah,
that's not
exactly.
bad right off the bat.
Weather alone, you're fine.
Yeah.
The fans are about as fair weathered as their actual weather, so they don't really care.
Right.
You're not gonna get pressured. You'll get fired from the front office, not from it's not gonna be the fans calling for a head. They could care less because they'll go surfing after the game. So yeah, and Niners, they have Tannehill, who is he a franchise quarterback? I don't know, but they have a couple good running backs. They have 2 good receivers. One Jarvis Landry just broke the NFL record for most catches in your first 2 seasons. I mean, that's something. So I actually like the Dolphins job. Of all the jobs out there total, it depends on who you are. If you're, I guess we mentioned Chip. The Titans called him.
Right.
So I think Chip would like that kind of job. But if I was just me being a coach, of all the jobs out there, I think the Dolphins would be the job I would want.
They got players. They have a defense, and
they got some building blocks. And they have great weather. And you got to take that into account. Would you rather spend your falls and summers or falls and winters in Buffalo, or would you rather be in Miami in South Florida? I mean,
no, not even a question.
I mean, the Giants' job is fine. Being a coach in New York, I think would be something. It's a lot of pressure, but
in the end, I won a Super Bowl, so it doesn't matter where I go. I mean, I'm going to the best. Out of all the places you said, I'm going to the one that's best.
So basically, you're not going to Philadelphia or Cleveland.
No,
because you just can't win. You can't win there. It's just impossible.
No, I'm not going. I'm out of all those jobs. I'm not going. I'm probably going to New York.
Honestly, if I was a premier coach, or if I was one of these Terrell Austin type guys, where I'm kind of taking what I can get, but I'm a premier free agent coach or out there, I literally would rather sit out a year than go to the Browns. It's a black hole. You're gonna go through. You're probably gonna get 2 years. I saw a stat today since 2008. Okay, since the start of 2008, the other 3 coaches, the other 3 teams in AFC North have 0 coaching changes. The Browns have 5.
Yeah, that's Cleveland though.
That's what I'm saying. I would literally rather not coach. I'd rather not be a head coach than go to the Browns. There's no winning.
There's no win. That's what you got. You go 2 places to die.
Miserable city,
Cleveland or Buffalo.
Yeah, miserable city too. It's not like you're having fun while you're there. It's Cleveland. Yeah. It's an awful place to live. I mean, let's be real. It is. It's an awful place to live, and you're also going to have an awful football team.
Why do you think Manziel is nuts there? He had nothing to do with drinking. Go nuts.
He could have had a worse place to go to. Really. I mean, the only person who's ever enjoyed Cleveland was LeBron because he's from Cleveland.
Yeah, right.
Nobody else is pining to go to Cleveland.
Could you imagine Johnny Fraudball in Miami and South Beach area?
Yeah. Imagine the trouble he'd get into.
Imagine the stories we would have.
Can LA get a team? Can they please get John? Can they really go how in these the smaller football leagues, it's like. If you're from this school, you have to play for this team.
Right.
Can we make it so that Manziel just has to go to LA if they get a team? It'd be amazing. It would just write itself.
All right, let's take a break, and we come back. We'll have.
You want to talk about Manziel for another couple minutes?
I'm kidding.
I was kidding. Take a break, please.
We'll take a break. We'll come back. We got our picks. We got the Wall Report and some more bullshit for you here at the Sports Goombahs. We'll be right back in a couple of minutes. Avoid the hassle. Just call Castle Public Adjusters. Get the edge on your insurance company. 215-752-1237. That's 215-752-1237. Or check them out at castlepa.com. Don't settle for less. Get the maximum for your claim. Castle Public Adjusters, 215-752-1237.
Hey, yo, Cashy, what are you doing?
I got plumbing problems here. I can't get the water to go down the drain. What am I going to do?
Call Guaranteed Plumbing, 215-342-7200 for all your plumbing needs. Serving the Philadelphia area and the greater Delaware Valley.
What was that phone number again?
215-342-7200.
Oh, yeah.
BZI Group, Inc. for your individual and small group health insurance needs. BZI offers free, instant online insurance quotes and applications from major health insurance carriers. The BZI Group is dedicated to a no-nonsense approach to health insurance. They focus on giving you the insurance you need in a timely and cooperative manner. Whether you're looking for individual and family, group, seniors, life, or long-term coverage, BZI can help. For additional information or to speak with an insurance expert, call 1-800-431-4834 or email them at www.bzigroup.com.
When you need a good roof over your head, call Seal Roofing. They've been keeping folks warm and dry for many years now and are proud of their work. Seal Roofing and Contracting does it all, whether you need simple repairs before the next big rainy season or a whole new roof. Maybe you need new siding or windows. You can be certain that when you hire Seal Roofing, you're hiring the best. Available 7 days a week with 24-hour emergency service and free estimates. Call 215-533-4066. That's 215-533-4066 or visit sealroofing.net.
Sports Goombahs, Cashy here. Chef to left, Brendan B. Mikey the Wall. Coming from the 515 studios. Very deep outside Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Yeah. Second half of our show is brought to you by BZI Group Insurance. Brian Z over there at bzigroup.com. Give a call, 1-800-431-4834. All your insurance needs. BZI Group Insurance. All right. Let's see if we can make a few bucks for you today. Last week we were 5-4. This is the pick session. And as you know, the pick session is brought to you by Auto Magic Car Care. Check them out at blah, blah, blah.com. AutomagicCarCare.com, 215-322-2561. The number one car detailers in the Delaware Valley, bar none. All right, last week 5-4. Okay, not really plus money because some of the losses were big bucks. So maybe that 5-4 might have lost you a couple dollars actually with some of the vig here. But big week this week. We got huge hockey plays. Now, I don't like to use the word lock because all the other idiots use lock. What do we use, Mike? What did you say? Stone Cold hit him in the head with a pipe.
I was joking. I was making fun of Mike and Mike.
I know. Yeah. We were going to call it the Cashy Crown plays. All right. Got some NHL. This is what you're going to do. You're going to jump all over the Chicago Blackhawks this week. This is a week I've been looking at them. Hawks are on the move again. It's All-Star break, and Chicago is going to start rising to the occasion like they do every year. This is a week for them. Okay. They got 4 nice plays here. They're going to go to Pittsburgh. They're going to come home and play Pittsburgh again. Buffalo and Colorado all at home. That's 3 home games. It's all this week. Get on them. Each game, one after the other. Don't stop. That's what you're going to take this week. That's my place. That's my hockey plays this week. Plus, the Dow Jones Dallas Stars. On fire still. If you're on Dallas right now, you're making money. Okay? No doubt. They got the Rangers tomorrow. Could be a tough game. Go to New York. It's always tough. The Rangers aren't as good as they should be right now. And I don't mind Dallas on the road. I like them tomorrow against the Rangers. I mostly like them if they're over 2.5 on the side total. Then on Thursday they come home against Winnipeg and then Minnesota. I see 3 wins right there. The game I don't like that much is the New York game. I would be on the side totals on that one. But I'm looking at 7 good hockey games this week for you to make some money. All right, Chicago, their whole list right up until Sunday. Same thing with Dallas. All week. Get on both these teams, one after the other. Don't look at the number. Just bet the games, okay? NFL wild card. All right. I'm not too thrilled with the NFL. I've been doing a lousy job. I'll tell you, I did a lousy job here with the NFL this year. With that being said, wild card weekend, I can't sit back, all right? I love Pittsburgh minus the 3. And I like Houston minus the 3. Okay? I think Houston should be plus. Even though they're home, I look at that line. Mike, you're great. Kansas City coming into Houston. Kansas City's on a 10-game run here.
Wait, what's the line?
It's 3, minus 3. Houston's minus 3.
Yeah. You think Kansas City should be
I kind of thought that was a mistake. I had to check that a couple times.
Houston's hot.
I know. But who's hotter than Kansas City?
No, I know. But I'm saying, obviously being the home team.
Yeah, it's a straight-up game.
Yeah. You're right though. Nobody's hotter than Kansas City.
Right. So I thought that would have been maybe a 1. When I see a 3, I'm saying to myself, well, somebody knows something here. That line tells me I'm on Houston in this game. Houston for the win. So I like Pittsburgh and Houston in the AFC. The NFC, a little tougher. Seattle is, I guess the only other team that's hotter than KC would be Seattle right now. I mean, they're monstering the NFC right now. They're just tearing everybody up. They look better than the Seattle team that won the Super Bowl 2 years ago. With that being said, I don't like them in this game because they're coming into Minnesota. But I like the over 41.5 here. I know Minnesota's got a tough defense, but Seattle is just pouring it on. I think it's going to be a shoot 'em out game. Although Minnesota doesn't get involved in this type of game, I think this one's going to be a high scoring game. I think both teams are going to be in the 20s. So without taking it to the side, I like the over in that one, over 41.5. The other one is Green Bay +1 against Washington. The Packers it's been a rough road for them getting to this point. Okay, this is a team that I thought was one of the better teams in football in the beginning of the year. Aaron Rodgers was hot. First 5 games, he couldn't miss. It's been kind of shaky since, up and down. They got themselves in the playoffs, and they have to play a wild card game. But coming into Washington, who won the worst division, all the Giants and the Eagles had to do was catch a couple balls, and they would have taken this division. They couldn't do it, so Washington slides in there. Now everybody thinks Washington's a juggernaut for some reason. They got a good quarterback. First time in the playoffs in this position. Packers +1. You give me Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs +1, I'm taking him. I don't care where he's playing, except if he's in New England. So that's my place. I Houston -3. All right, tell me I'm stupid, but whatever. I think that J.J. Watts.
I don't think you're stupid at all.
J.J. Watts takes over this football game. Okay, I think he's tired of screwing around. Hell with the quarterback. I'll do this myself. Pittsburgh, Big Ben and the boys. I'm glad they got in there. They deserve to be in the playoffs this year.
Deserved.
It's they're good enough to be in there.
Yeah, they're good enough. Yeah, I mean, they're if you're doing the best 6 teams in the AFC, yes.
Yeah, they're a scary football team if you have to.
Oh
play
yeah.
For sure.
I'd be much more afraid of playing them than I would of the Jets.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And that's why the Jets aren't there. Seattle, Minnesota over 41.5. And
I didn't have more to say with the Jets.
Well, I didn't get there
Your boy.
yet. I didn't get there. I was hoping I was hoping first Rex would get fired, for beating the Jets or whatever. I mean, I don't have a problem with the Jets now that Rex isn't there. I just, never really a Jets fan anyway.
Yeah, but losing to Rex.
Yeah, that was, and it's, what, that probably saved Rex's job more or less. I don't know. I don't know if he has a job to see. I don't know what's going over there in Buffalo. It's not good. It's never good. It's never good under Rex. He'll take a team and he'll rip it apart for sure. Anyway, those are my 4 plays for the NFL. I got a nice 7 picks there for hockey, which would give me 11 plays. Now I know this is a big week for me. Okay, this is the turn of the year. Okay, 2006 we start off with 11 good plays here. Last week was okay. I like these plays. I've watched these plays before. I looked at this week for Chicago, and I waited for this to happen, and they're in the right mode right now. Chicago's on the way up. So there's my plays. Take them, like them. They're from the Sports Goombahs. We're number 7 handicapper in the country.
Are we?
I don't know. Mikey, you got anything? Clemson.
Yeah.
He's got Clemson. He's got Clemson Tourette's.
Last week, I couldn't not. After last week, I said last week it was too easy. I mean, they were getting 3.5. Actually went before at one point. Right before game time, it went back down to 3.5. But I mean, there's no reason in the world that they should have been an underdog. So they went out and they blew out Oklahoma. I know a friend personally who saw our pick, and he said he put 600, fake dollars.
Units.
Betting's not legal.
Units.
Yeah, so he put units, 600 units on Clemson, and so he had a very happy New Year's. He shot me a text for that. So thanks. This week, I don't have anything right now for the show.
Okay.
That reason is because. From now on, if you go over to the Mind of Mike page section up top, I'm actually going to be posting plays throughout the week. I don't get yelled at by Cashy.
He goes and posts an NBA game.
I liked it. I really liked it.
It lost.
I know.
Wasn't even close.
Dallas won 6 straight home games, and all they had to do was beat a team in New Orleans who was the the 3rd worst team in the Western Conference. I thought for sure, you can lock it up. So I don't want to besmirch Cashy's page.
I'm getting calls and texts. What are you picking basketball now? I said, no. What are you talking about? Go in the second. Whoa. I would never pick that
I wanted to
game.
delete it, but I was like, you can't delete losers. You can't do it. And not because they lost. I wanted to delete it to get it off your page. So going forward, I'm going to actually put my plays on the Mind of Mike page. So that way I don't have to embarrass Cashy. When I throw out like 8 NBA plays and go 0 for 8, probably. I'm just kidding. I would never do that. I'm going to get into college basketball because that was my forte during the year was college football. So that's why I don't want to rush anything now. Yeah. I actually want to sit and look at who I like in college basketball, and then throw out some plays because that's like you can say that's where the real money is. Every human being in the world knows the NFL. There's a lot of information out there. Not too many people are following the Siena versus Marist, MAC conference game, and the
smart money
college basketball. So that's where you can kind of find weaknesses. Actually, because I went to a website where you can bet units, and actually is units. I would never bet online. Real money, but so I started doing some games, just the ones I liked, and the one I saw, I took a play today. A team was getting Alcorn State, or not Alcorn State. Somebody was getting like 16 tonight. So I picked them. They were a dog. They won the game outright. So I'm off to a good start. I think I was 5-3 today with my picks on the college basketball. So I'm gonna actually start posting them on my page, so you can follow them there.
Good enough. I'm just kidding about the basketball. It's okay to put that up there.
You would never give me a hard time.
I might be coming up with some basketball. If hockey doesn't work.
Hey, the Sixers stay hot.
Yep.
Another W tonight.
That's terrific. That's 4 now, right? They're going to blow this thing.
No, the Lakers have won like 4 straight. Lakers are hot.
4 straight. Oh,
they just won by 40 last night or something like that.
40. Is Kobe playing now? Is he?
His team's playing.
He's back. Yeah.
He's still physically playing the sport of basketball. He's not the reason they're winning.
Yeah, remember, some of these plays can change. You got to check them out on the site. I might add to them or take some out. Depends on injuries, players, stuff like that.
Line's getting too large.
Yeah, absolutely.
He may tell you he likes Dallas, but when Friday rolls around and they're minus 340, it's like, okay, well, maybe you'll pull this one
back
down.
off it a little bit.
Yeah, let's not rest the
back off that. Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of the Sixers, I don't know what you want to get into real quick, but I don't know if you saw a couple dads getting involved.
Yeah, what was that?
First, Chuck Okafor.
Oh man, shut up!
Heckling right from behind the bench.
Who heckles the coach?
Put my kid in. Like, what is this? This CYO basketball? Who does that?
I couldn't believe it. I was reading that. I read it twice. And it took him, and he had to go back and shut his dad up.
Yeah, Jaleel had to say
embarrassing is that?
Like, this is the NBA.
Yeah,
you don't do that.
No.
And I don't know if you saw this one. I had a screenshot on my phone because I couldn't really find the article elsewhere. But it was I couldn't find a tweet because his Twitter is private, but it's reserve point guard for the Sixers, Kendall Marshall. His dad took to Twitter, and he basically saying the Sixers are racist. He said, "I always."
How could you call an NBA team racist?
Yeah, no, this is Kendall Marshall. Kendall Marshall obviously is an African American. His father is too. He sent out a tweet. He said, "I always said there was racism in sports." He said, "White guys in basketball are getting every chance to succeed, even when they ain't doing shit." And then he further he didn't back off that. He came back with another tweet, saying, "How are you a shooter when you're shooting 27% from 3? Guard can't guard, but play a lot. What do you think the reason is?" That's obviously towards Nick Stauskas,
yes.
A white guard for the Sixers. So gotta love it. First of all, you're a dad, so you probably. No offense to you, Cash, you're a father as well, but you're not on Twitter antagonizing franchises. You're not doing that. So when you're in your 60s, get off Twitter. Stop calling people out. Like, really.
Real pride in the neighborhood.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. How on earth can you say the NBA is racist?
Yeah.
Because there's one white guy per team?
Dad, shut up.
Yeah.
Please.
That's when you're like, yeah, seriously, exactly. Dad,
enough.
I'm going to ground you because you're going to get me cut from the team because first of all, you're not that good. Maybe that's what it is. The fact that you're Kendall Marshall,
right,
and you're on your 4th team in 2 years. You're just not very good. Is what it comes down to.
That's great.
You were a lottery pick and you were in the D League within like a week.
You're tired. You were one white guy on the team. Now you're racist.
Yeah, we allow one white guy. Imagine if it was all the way around. Imagine if it was like hockey and everyone's just like, you let the one black guy play ahead of me. Like, really? Yeah, Simmons getting all the opportunities in the world. Like, really? You can't say that. You can't say that.
Oh, brutal.
Oh, I love it.
Brutal.
That's what Twitter gives you the opportunity to make an ass out of yourself, pretty much.
Yeah.
And the 2 Sixers daddies took full opportunity. Sixers update.
Oh, what are you gonna do, man? It's actually not bad to watch right now.
No, it's not.
Since they got this,
it looked really good tonight.
They got the guard
They
back.
keep surrounding themselves with Hall of Fame coaches and players.
Who they just signed.
Big brand.
What's the year before?
Yeah, of course. He was the one that we signed to like a $40 million deal.
Right. He was here for 2 years.
I think it was more than that.
Is that Larry Brown? Still no.
No. That might have been Doug. Who was the one before that? No, who was I
forget in between.
Doug Collins.
Doug Collins. No, it wasn't Doug Collins. Was Collins? No. I forget who was here after Brown. That's how it was.
No, I don't think Brown wasn't here that long ago.
No, it was.
I'll tell you who it was. I'm gonna pull up in a second.
Who's the last coach of Sixers?
We went through coaches every year.
Cheeks.
So.
We had Cheeks, and then we had
We brought. He played here for 4 seasons. First one.
Then we had the old Boston player too. Was here.
He came in 2008.
Doug Collins coached this team. No, not Doug Collins.
It was Mo Cheeks who brought him in.
Yeah, Mo Cheeks. But who was there?
0809.
No, Doug Collins wasn't on this team.
Collins, yes, he was. Collins was the most recent one. He's the one who took us to the playoffs. He's the one who took us to the playoffs.
Oh, you know what? I forget Doug Collins.
You're thinking Bobby Jones, maybe.
No, I'm not thinking Bobby Jones. I forget Doug Collins actually came here and tried to put this thing together. I forgot about that.
No, Cheeks got fired that year, and that was the infamous Tony DeLeo era.
Yeah, right.
They went from the front office to the I don't coach a team. Then after this year, they just fired them all together. You're fired from GM and coach. You're out of here.
You gotta love playing. You gotta love playing this town, man.
The Sixers coaching carousel at one point was Browns-esque. I mean, we just running down the list of coaches. We had, Brown, obviously the guy who's there now. Yeah, and Collins before him. Remember the Eddie Jordan era lasted all of 1 year.
Yep.
Mo Cheeks, Tony DeLeo, Jim O'Brien, Randy.
That's what I'm thinking about. Jim O'Brien,
Randy
from Boston.
Ayers.
Randy Ayers. I remember him.
Who's C4? Chris Ford? Is that his name? Chris? I gotta find out his name.
Chris Ford. Another Boston guy, right? Yep.
And then that's all the coaches since Larry. So that was a fun time. That was a fun time for the Sixers.
Yeah.
Just like the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, well, you know what? If you look at Philadelphia sports and people in Cleveland would look at this city the same way we look at them. Although we've been up there a little more than they have, but Philadelphia's always a problem. This town's always a problem.
At least they have a basketball team.
It's always a sport. It's always a sports problem here. Every sport we have is always. It's never smooth. There's always a rocky road to the top or even to the bottom. One way or another, whether it's controversy left or right. And a lot of players and coaches will blame the media in this town for being so involved in their sports teams. I mean, you look at this city, it has 2 sports channels that go against each other 24/7, right?
That's almost unheard of.
There's not another even New York doesn't have that going down. They don't do that. You got the Fan in New York, and that's it. Everybody else is a distant second when you're talking sports. This town's got 220, and they're brawling against each other. That's how hardcore sports is in this town. And when you have that, and you got nuts like us who are coming once a week doing our thing, plus whoever, and you think about it, you got to have so much material to run 2 sports shows together all week long that you're going to dig into whatever you can. So when you come here to play, you better be prepared to get it all angles, good or bad, because we need the material to fill our sports media in this town. And that's part of the problem. You can scare players like that. You can scare Nick Foles, a guy coming from nowhere. You look at it. Chip Kelly comes here. He's the king of Oregon, right? And he doesn't have to face 35, 40 reporters at one time. Now he's got a whole crew coming at him for every mistake the king makes. And he doesn't feel he has to answer. It's part of the problem. Andy Reid did that for the first couple years, just sat there with his head down and says, that's subjective. That's subjective every time. Until he started winning, when you start winning, you can start answering them questions better. But, you saw Andy Reid when things went bad for him here. The media started beating up on him. A lot of towns aren't like that. You go to Kansas City, there's 5 guys in the press conference there. You go to Buffalo, there's 2 guys standing out there asking you. You come to Philly, they got a lunch spread for everybody. They got so many people in the press room that they're serving food to everybody. That's how big it is here. You got 2 stations, plus there's sports stations coming down on you for everything you do.
We love sports.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
Good at it, but we love it.
And that's the fun. This city is like you win a Super Bowl in this town. You win that trophy. You're getting a statue next to somebody here in this town. They're going to put you in Center City by the
Rocky.
How would Rocky, that fictitious?
Don't take Rocky down for that.
Rocky comes down for that one. He bring Rocky right to the ground for that. Forget about that guy. And that's what you get here if you win a Super Bowl. Dick Vermeil almost had it. In fact, Vermeil, even though he got us to the Super Bowl, he was an icon in this town for the next 20 years.
I think he was like you said earlier, he was the only coach that you really gave a shit when he went. please don't go to Dallas. Please go
Right.
to somewhere.
He won the Super
We don't
Bowl.
want to hate you.
When Lurie didn't want him as a coach here, he went to St. Louis, won the Super Bowl. We were excited to watch him win that game. It was almost like we won the Super Bowl because of Emil. You know, every morning you saw him on the Blue Cross Blue Shield signs on the billboards on 95. He was always doing interviews and stuff in this town, you know. So that's the difference. In this town, if someone could finally win that stinking Super Bowl, they would be king of this town, you know. It should have been Andy Reid. He had a chance to do that. He had 4 chances.
Yeah, 2 realistic, really good opportunities.
Yeah, you know.
4 altogether, but 2 really good ones.
Him and that Owen should have been the mayor and the assistant mayor of this town for at least a year.
And assistant would have been Reid.
Yeah, exactly right.
Owen's a personality.
But that's the difference. That's the toughness of this town to play in, and players know that.
So we mentioned that with the Phillies.
Yeah.
Any one of their players from that team walks in a bar, their bill's paid.
Yep.
Any one of them. It could be Jeff Jenkins.
Yep.
It could be Chad Qualls. I don't even know if he was here for that team.
And that's both teams. That's both World Series teams. Both World Series. It's the same with the Flyers. The Flyers are 45 years old. You know, Joe Watson walks into a bar and he eats for free, man. You know?
I don't know who that is.
That's it. You don't know who that is, right?
It's been that long.
It's been that long, right?
The fact that I just don't care with the Flyers, but it's been that long. So
Yeah.
I don't know the guy.
You know, Bernie Perrant, same thing. Perrant's
All right.
Perrant's like a sports guide in this town. You know, he talks. People listen to him, no matter what the hell he's saying.
Bernie Perrant, I thought he was dead.
Come on, man.
Did we have a goalie who died?
Yeah, Pelly Lindbergh died.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, but he was a second year player when that. Was he rookie or second year when he died?
Yeah, he's a young guy.
Second, might have been.
I think he might have. Yeah. But
All right, so I knew somebody died.
that's the deal. That's the deal in this town. That's why.
Yes, Mike.
You know, if you're a player coming here, you got to think it's not only the team. You got to look around you. Your lifestyle changes in this town. You're not going anywhere outside your bathroom without somebody taking a picture of you, putting a camera, tweeting about you, and that kind of stuff. And it's big here. It's huge.
And just even people leave. I mean, we were happy for Pat Burrell when he won one.
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
Even I mean, I don't know about you guys
because he won here. He won here. That was he won here.
But even guys who put in a like that's if McNabb went to like some other team and won a Super Bowl, as long as we weren't who he beat on the way, like I feel like First of
all, McNabb doesn't get that. He didn't win that here.
No, but I know. I feel like he would have gotten that treatment though. I really do. I think people would have been happy for McNabb.
No, I don't. I disagree with that.
As long as we weren't in contention, if you beat us on the way, then no. But if we were a joke franchise.
I would love to see a poll on that one.
Here's the thing. McNabb wasn't fan friendly. Okay, he was self-indulging on everything. Self-absorbed. Self-important on everything he did. Whether it was commercials, stats, putting people under the bus. He didn't relate to the fan. He was more of the upstairs. They used to say to him. Yeah, he's more upstairs with the manager.
Maybe I'm saying. Maybe that wasn't a great example, but
like Dawkins. Dawkins wins with Denver that year.
But look at Iverson. We love Iverson here.
Yep.
He didn't win us anything.
Nothing.
But we love Iverson. And if he came back, every time he comes in, they have these Iverson nights, the place sells out. They go nuts for him.
He shows up. Well, he was part, when he came in with Pat Croce and they took the Sixers from the cellar of crap, the two of them, between him and Croce, and they turned this thing into a big circus, and the fans felt good, and we had a nice run there. The NBA title run was unbelievable. That was no one thought that was happening. That whole season was crazy. And then when they win that first game in LA, people actually thought they were going to take that series from them. But that was all part of a show that was brought up and it brought the city together and it filled that stadium, which even back in the day of Julius Erving and the championship, when I had season tickets, that stadium didn't fill. Sixers never fill. They don't fill now. But during that Iverson year, you couldn't get a ticket to that game. He was the show every night. He was there.
That's why if you poll actual Sixers fans, people who really care. I mean, me personally, when Iguodala won the title last year, I was happy for Iguodala. Yeah. I was because he was a hard worker for the Sixers, and he never bitched.
And he was he was always second to Iverson too.
Yeah, but no, but when he became like the guy, he was like kind of thrust into the new face of the team role. Right. And I mean, people kind of killed him when he was here because he said he wasn't Iverson. We were coming off Iverson. We didn't realize that not everyone has superstars. We just thought that you have Iverson. Okay, if it's not him, it's somebody else. And we didn't realize, it's not, Iguodala's not a superstar. He's a good player. I was happy for Iguodala.
I think he's got some problems with some child support going on.
I know. that might make an appearance on the Wall Report. It may. I don't want to spoil it, but that may show up.
That's why it was so fresh.
But looking at the Sixers, when I was pulling up the coaches, I found something interesting. We've been in the playoffs like 10 times since then, pretty much. We haven't had a winning season since 2004, 2005. 04, 05.
That was this year we beat Chicago in the playoffs, right?
No, that was 2012.
That was We'd have a winning season when we went to the playoffs.
We did the playoffs 4 times since our last winning record. We've gone to the playoffs 4 times. Each time we did not have a winning record.
Wow,
that's
unbelievable.
That's the NBA, and that's the East.
That's it. Yeah, right. Exactly.
And I mean, that's really, if you look at me, I know hockey, it's the same thing really, except the records don't look as bad because you have overtime losses. So if you add up the overtime losses, there's a lot of sub 500 teams in hockey as well.
Yeah, it's based on the whole point structure. It's just
but like the Sixers when they were 40 and 42.
That's why I don't like the overtime loss.
In NBA you're 40 and 42 of a losing record. In hockey, you're 40, 28 and 12 or something stupid like that. It's like you really have a losing record. You lost more than you won. End of story.
Yeah, you get back to if you're a player out there and you're a free agent and you're looking at towns and you're looking at Miami. You're looking at New York. You're looking at Philadelphia.
Depends what you're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, if it's outright money, okay, you're going to come here. But if you're looking for an environmental situation and to relax and play your sport, this is not the town to come to. You got to be prepared to win.
If you're a superstar who wants a challenge, I think this is a great city to go to.
And
if you're a guy who's just looking to make a paycheck,
exactly right.
You're not. You know that you're not going to be the reason. You may win a championship, but you're not going to be the reason they win one. You may go to Miami instead.
Chip Kelly come here because he's getting whacked at Oregon. I think
he felt sanctions coming.
Yeah, he felt it coming. So he figured he can hang out here for a couple of years.
But
you know what I mean.
He felt sanctions coming.
So now he comes here. He wastes 3 years here, makes a nice chunk of money, gets himself on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Ruins the franchise. Sets us back 5 years.
Yeah, sets us back. And now
does he care?
Right. He could go back
to check still cash.
Yeah, he can go to any college he wants to, probably.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So what does he care?
He could make it his choice of college.
He hated this media here anyway. He didn't like.
He hated him too.
He didn't like the battles. He couldn't believe people actually asking him them types of questions. Sometimes you look at the guy, are you seriously asking me that? But that's what you get here. That's what you got to face. So you got to be prepared for that. So as coming in here as an Eagle coach, if you look back on press conferences with Andy Reid and Chip Kelly, this is what you're going to have to go through. At the end of the game, in the fourth quarter, you better start thinking about what you're going to talk about to the press if you're losing. And that's funny because I look out there and I was watching Chip on some of these terrible games, some of these blowouts. I'm thinking in the fourth quarters, wow, what's he going to say at the press conference? It's actually because it's so relevant it won't be much in coaches in this town that have to face the press, especially when you lose. It's really not, and I'm thinking to myself, you got to be thinking, what are you going to battle the press with now after a game like this? Because 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter, you're down 40 points. Your head's got to be someplace else now. You can't be thinking about we're going to possibly chance to win this game. So you got to think about what's the next thing you're doing in life. Well, I got to face this stinking press in about 20 minutes. What am I going to tell them so I don't look stupid?
You'll look stupid regardless.
Yeah, you throw your running back coach under the table, something like that. So
kind of beg to differ there on the hockey thing because I just looked it up and all of those teams that made it had above 500 records.
It's physically impossible.
No, if you take all the loss overtimes and you make them losses, they're still over 500.
I don't think that's true.
What?
The lowest seed it was Pittsburgh last year, and they were 43, 27, and 12.
Okay, that's last year.
Yeah, I'm talking about. It's the only frame of reference I have to go on for last year.
We could obviously look back the year before that.
What are you talking about?
About losing teams making the playoffs.
Yeah.
I don't see it happen in hockey as much as any other.
Because of the overtime, right? Because of that, that's bullshit overtime shit.
Well, even if you take it, the lowest seed was Pittsburgh, and they were 43, 27, and 12. So that makes it 39 and 43. 43 wins, 39 losses, even if you add in them as losses.
Yeah.
So
I can't stand the fact that hockey actually has to go to an overtime, and it could possibly go to overtime and still be a tie. You're still awarded a tie, you're awarded the points, even though you lost the overtime. I feel if you go into a sport and you go into overtime, you lose the game. That's why you're going in overtime. Getting extra points to me is totally stupid. I don't know why they just don't go to a 3-on-3 like they're doing for 5 minutes. Someone's going to score. Go for 7 minutes, whatever. It's annoying. I'm tired. And when I see the shootout after all that crap, it makes me more aggravated.
Now, you said that's the only frame of reference you have to go on.
No, I mean,
if you simply go 1 year further back, two teams made the playoffs with losing records. So,
well, if you add it in, Detroit.
Yeah, I mean, you can sway the stats to look any way you want to do, but if you went one more year back, you would see it. Two teams made the playoffs. I only
went one last year because that's all I had right in front of me, and I just checked again.
Stats. Don't talk stats on my show.
Well, it's not stats. It's the fact that losing teams are getting the playoffs in these sports, which is why I was like baseball and football. You need to be actually good to get there in those
Yeah,
sports. These
absolutely.
other sports is kind of just, hey,
Not
don't
football.
suck.
Football is not exempt from that.
Yeah, well, not lately.
Not lately.
That's just because of the whole, the divisions.
That's what's great about baseball back in the day before they had these wild cards, where you won the pennant. You won. I remember when Atlanta went up against when Philadelphia won. Atlanta won 100 games one year. I think they won 90-something games. It didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
No, they won 100 gages. And someone else won 100. I forget who was in the division at that time. They were set up different. I'm not sure it was New York or it might have been Philadelphia. I'm not even sure about who. But in baseball, before they had that wild card, it was you won the division and that was it. End of story.
Yeah, I know.
And
I don't like that though.
Well, money doesn't allow them to do that anymore. They need to make more money, so they have more playoff games, more action, more televising, more commercials. So
I just don't, and I agree. I agree with Mike wholeheartedly. I don't think that losing team should make the playoffs. I think it should be the best record. If you're gonna do this whole seeded system like this, just like you said, especially hockey, which they kind of like fixed but didn't fix at the same time. But if you're going to do that, it should be the 8 best teams, which it is. It's the 8 best teams.
Yeah, but unfortunately, in basketball and hockey, you have 16 playoff teams, and I mean in NBA you have 30 teams. So literally over half the league makes playoffs. That I think is stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to cut it down.
Like it's money, man. It's always been.
I know it's money. Of course, I'm not
and
naive to why it is.
And it's like anything else here. They have too many teams, too many playoffs. But everybody's tallying here. So
it's just like always. I mean, if you're in a fantasy football league and there's 10 teams in the league, do you think 6 teams should make it? And you're the 1 seed now, or no? I mean, sorry, 8 teams to make the playoffs? No, that's ridiculous. If you're the 1 seed playing the 8 seed who just went 4-9, you're gonna be like, no, this is bullshit. I shouldn't have to play this time.
Yeah,
but it's because there's no money to broadcast your fantasy football playoffs.
You like the bye? You think the bye is?
I'm a big fan of the bye.
You gotta win something. You gotta give the top team something. You just can't be. You can't. If you go 13-1,
it has it though, right?
What
football?
Well, baseball, you don't.
No, baseball has a bye, but it's that wild card bye.
It's a whole wild card now thing. So,
but football is different because football you're only playing so many games. So if you're gonna go a season, you go 13-1, and you got to play the same playoffs. It's like when I'm in the fantasy league, the same thing. I go 10-3. I got to play 7-16.
1 week of the bye is huge.
Yeah,
it's a free win. That's what it is.
It's the reward you get for having that kind of record, for playing that kind of way. You got to give them something at that point. I really think
the NBA is a little different. Only the fact that the 1 seed versus the 8 seed. Literally, you will never have an upset. I know that in the past I did because it was 5 games. That 1 year, it was 5-game series. Yeah. But now that they made it 7, you're never going to see the Milwaukee Bucks upset the Cavs. It's just not going to happen. It will never happen.
And in hockey, you do see that all the time. Hockey, it's different. That's why they see them out like
so
that.
Even. Basketball is such an uneven sport. Yeah, the better teams are just way better.
And I'll give you that. You hit the nail on the head. Hockey has more. I don't want to say.
It's more of an even playing field.
Yeah, there's more.
The best team isn't that much better than the worst.
Yeah, the better teams are everywhere.
The Sixers play the
players.
If the Sixers at full strength play the Warriors at full strength in a serious game, like if we really tried both teams, we're going to lose by 50. Whereas in hockey, the best team versus the worst team, it's not always going to be a 5-0 blowout. So it's a different game.
No, I just think there's a lot more talented players throughout all of hockey than there is throughout all of basketball. I think the crop of players, the average player is better than the average NBA player.
No, I remember last year we did something for like our wish lists for 2015, and we didn't do one for this year for 2016. But that's something I think that might have been on my list last year. That I would love to have again this year. It's just you need to cut down the playoffs. Like I think buy is so much better. Again, I know why. It's because of money. Yeah. But like even with NBA, if you're the 1 and 2 seeds, give them buys, and then just go 3 versus 6, 4 versus 5.
You gotta reward the best team you root. There's gotta be a reason to be the best, not home court advantage anymore. Because I don't buy home, especially in hockey. I don't buy the home.
If you want to make money, televise their practices. If you really want to make money, just have a live broadcast of the practices.
People will tune into that.
Somebody will.
Absolutely.
Some freak out there.
Yeah, I mean, you get who's not going to.
Mark Stein and Chad Ford on ESPN will go nuts.
Absolutely. You're not kidding.
Have some kind of the Hard Knocks type thing for a week. Follow them for backstage for if you need to monetize it somehow, do that.
Do you not like the hockey playoffs, or you do like the hockey playoffs?
I like the hockey playoffs because of the hockey that's played. Exactly. The system it could be cut down a little bit. But hockey.
Yeah, the what you're seeing on the ice is good. He's what he's saying. Like, well,
the product.
Speaking
The
for you,
yeah.
but I agree with that. Like where I understand that playoff hockey is much better.
It's a whole different level. Yeah,
playoff basketball. Yeah. Whereas once you get later in the playoffs, I think playoffs basketball picks up. But that first round is a joke. That's why they don't even televise some of the games on NBA TV. Like it's not even playing. Yeah. But like I said, whereas I think in hockey, just like in basketball, the 1 and 2 seeds in each conference should get buys. Yeah, you guys said you got to be rewarded. What's the point of finishing first if you're playing the same? That's why the Spurs did what they did all these years.
Right.
They got to X amount of wins, like 55 wins, and go, all right, down the road, Duncan sitting, Ginobili sitting, Parker sitting, because you have no reason to try to win as many games as possible. What's the difference between being the 1 and the 3?
I'll give you that.
When you're playing the 6, 7, and 8 are all the same teams anyway. They're all 45 win teams.
The bottom line is that with this many teams in both hockey and basketball, you keep and just like they do in baseball now, they keep a lot of people interested. They got teams are still in the mix, so there's money being spent, there's tickets being sold, there's chances, there's TV. So that's basically it. We know that has nothing to do with the players themselves and the teams. It's all about the money being generated with these extra games.
But also, I think that hockey now, it's been this way for so many years. It's become tradition. All right, we add another team, we're going to add another round or whatever. Whatever happened to get it to this point. It's been this way for 40 years now.
Hockey is tricky. In the playoffs, you just make it, and you never know. And they always say it's cliche. You never know what's going to happen. But if you look at hockey, your teams last year, I think was the first year in a long time we had the 1 and 2 seeds actually play each other.
Great series.
And it was. And with hockey, the way it's played, especially because in the playoffs there is no overtime bullshit. It's you play a period, someone scores, and that's it. And that's how every game should be played. I mean, hockey rules.
But then you run into that problem of how important is this game really? Where someone might just go, you know what, score, and they might just let you score. And do you really want that? Do you want someone?
That's why I think the 3-on-3 should be done right after the game. No 4-on-4. Just go right to 3-on-3, and it's going to happen. Forget the 4-on-4 overtime 5 minutes. Go right.
That's probably going to be. I'll give you that. That will probably be going very soon. 4-on-4.
Just go to 3-on-3.
The 3-on-3 is just too damn.
What they're having in the All-Star game, they're having 3-on-3 tournaments now. So
we covered that before.
You're showing us
an experiment. But we said this before. If you're going to experiment in the All-Star games. Why not? For all sports.
Yeah,
for every sport. If there's anything you wouldn't tinker with, throw in the All-Star game. Why not?
They're doing it smart, at least.
Yeah.
I mean,
what do you think of the extra point now? The NFL this year, we had the 20-yard extra point, which is actually a 30-yard extra point.
I like it.
A lot of misses. I saw a lot of misses.
Was that done for Vegas?
No, it's done for they want you to go for the 2-pointer, but the teams weren't going for it.
Yeah, nobody was really buying into that.
Make that. Once again, when you intercept the 2-point conversion and run it down the other side, it's still just 2 points, right? Yeah, right.
Yeah. Somebody did do that finally.
I saw that. Yeah,
I think it was the Saints.
Yeah,
Saints did it.
Big deal.
Yeah, I think they were. If you were going to do if you were trying to entice more 2-point conversions, you should have moved it up to the 1. And was that what Chip Kelly? Was that what he was going for? That was his thing.
See,
Chip had one guy.
Of all the sports, though, not to jump back 1 second, but of all the sports, I can watch any playoff hockey game. Mm-hmm. I have a hard time watching any playoff basketball game if I don't have a.
Can't watch a regular game.
No, I mean, like even if you get into the bigger rounds, I didn't watch any of the playoffs last year. Not even the championship game.
Well, it depends on how big of a fan
another story.
Depends on how big of a fan of the sport you are, though.
Yeah,
and you're saying because you're a hockey diehard. I'm not one of them, so I don't watch. But I'm saying, but there's obviously a basketball diehard. So I'm like, oh my god, you're insane. Basketball playoff basketballs is the best thing ever. Like so.
And I could watch pretty much any baseball game, any. That's truly my favorite.
We all agree, obviously, playoff football.
Yeah,
there's no stinkers. I mean, if there's such thing as a stinker, it's probably this Chiefs-Texans game. But
I think that might be a surprisingly fun game, though.
No, it should be fun. It should be good. Yeah. You have a team that's won 10 straight games going against a team, and they're still the dogs. Yeah. Cash, you do have some support on Twitter. Somebody tweeted that the Texans are their lock. But I don't know the word. The Texans are their lock of the week.
Stone cold lock.
Stone
cold here over here with a baseball
on them, but
tomorrow the schools are closed in New York tomorrow due to the cold.
Are you serious?
Yeah, schools closing tomorrow due to freezing cold in New York.
Now,
It was 70 degrees last week.
I know because we can't even compare eras because you guys went to like grade school in a different era.
I went to Catholic school in the city, and I don't know what a snow day was.
See, that's the thing. Like
that's got to be bullshit, man.
but again, you guys went to. I mean, I'm not coming at your age. I'm not being mean actually, but you guys went to school 30 years ago, 40 years ago, like grade school. I'm talking
grade
about.
School.
Yeah,
70. You're
yeah,
talking 76 to 88.
So it's a different era then. I was in grade school like 10 years ago. Okay, I never had one day off because of heat or because of cold. This is new, and even I'm sounding like the old grizzled kids these days. Like it's ridiculous. They're all
you know what?
cold.
Everybody's afraid to get sued, Mikey.
Yeah, I get sued for the cold though.
You send your kids to a school where the heater's broke. I can't believe you.
I'm sure the heater's not broke.
Every school in New York.
It's not broke.
Oh, what was it? Did your school have air conditioning?
Yes, we had air conditioning.
You did?
Yes, of
Mine
course.
didn't. Lincoln have air conditioning?
No, kidding
There
me?
you
But like I said, you guys went to school 30 years ago where air conditioning wasn't in every house.
I went to
in the
school
world.
25 years ago. He went to school 40
Wait,
years
I went
ago.
to actually my high school didn't have air conditioning, but the middle school had the air conditioning.
No.
That was a new model. It was a new modern school was built.
Little pussies.
What? Where'd you go to middle school?
Austin, Maine.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they had air conditioning everything, man.
See, I went to Matt
And
St.
water
Matt's,
fountains.
and we didn't have air conditioning either.
Well, same man, it was a brick old made in the built in the 1940s.
43. I think.
Right.
Or now the school was built in the 60s.
Yeah, and we're to get
We could have a weekly.
kids are so
We
delicate.
could have a weekly grumpier old men thing. And sadly, I can go right along with you guys because this is ridiculous.
Yeah,
Come on.
it's
Cold.
Well,
Like I said, I was in high school 10 years ago, and we never got off because it was too cold outside.
listen, they close schools now when they say there's going to be a snowstorm.
Yep.
You know, we're going to close schools. But, we're going to get a blizzard condition. The next day you wake up and there's a couple of flurries. You know.
But that's the problem. Also, I mean, yeah, it's great to get those random days off, but now they're going to school till like July because of how many random days off they got throughout the year.
With no air conditioning.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. No air
You can't
conditioning.
get those.
New York.
You can't get those days off.
Yeah, they're going to cook them instead of
What-
freezing.
You're
them.
gonna make it up next week.
Yeah, it's like one of those stupid little facts is like New York, like Central Park blooms so early because of all the residual heat from all the buildings.
Right.
You know, you really want to be going to school in July in New York.
That's crazy, man.
Ah, humbug.
I'm getting out of town. Anyway. Now, the wall report.
Gotta keep that piano going. I was feeling that.
A little extra.
It is time for the wall report, of course. And even before you mentioned it, by the way, it was my number one story. Not so much number one, like it's the biggest story, but it just really pissed me off. And that's really what I mean. When it comes down to it, the wall report is what do I find interesting and what pisses me off. And this pisses me off. And it pisses me off not even for just athletes, but just for normal human beings. Because I have a family member who is involved with, child support and things like that. But yeah, so Andre Iguodala, his baby mama, Clayana Worthen, she currently gets $18,000 a month in child support from little Andre to support their child. Their child's apparently a genius. It has an IQ of 151, which I looked it up. It's actually pretty high. Einstein and Bill Gates have IQs of 160. So she's this little girl, this little 6-year-old is not far behind. So she's getting 18 grand a month in child support. She says this isn't enough. I can't afford tuition to her private school. You need to up the ante. So she's taking them to court for she's requesting, get this, $58,000 a month for child support. That's what she's saying because of how much he's making. That's how much I should now make.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know why I had the numbers written down previously, but I guess when I transferred it to here, I didn't write down the numbers. For the $18,000 a month in child support, I believe that's about $212,000 a year. That even if you don't have a job, that's how much you make a year. That's enough for school. I mean, I'm willing to bet that all of us right here, we don't make that combined, and we go to school no problem, don't we?
Yeah.
So yeah, the $58,000 a month would come out to about $690,000 a year before she even woke up got out of bed. That's what she needs to live her lifestyle and send her kid to school.
It's tough.
The best job in the world is being a mother of an athlete's kid. That is the best job in the world. I know some people say backup quarterback would be the best job in the world. No.
Yeah.
Why even play the sport? Why even go through the years of training and talent when you can just have sex and get $690,000 a year?
It's a beautiful thing.
And I mean, I don't want to be sexist, but how can you possibly claim equality when this is what happens. How is this? I don't. This boggles my mind. Philadelphia's New Year's Mummers Day Parade, or Mummers Parade, whatever. Which, for the record, I don't know about you guys. I think it's one of the lamest things in the entire world. I don't know if you guys are fans of the Mummer Parade. Any opinions on it?
I'm not a Mummer.
Yeah,
I've never seen one.
I've never had the urge to go down there. I like the fact that it's a tradition. I like it as a tradition.
Well, may not be a tradition much longer.
Yeah.
After what they did. I don't know if you saw this. You can't make fun of Bruce Jenner. They made fun of Bruce. So Bruceland. One of the sets of, I don't even know how the setup of it is, but apparently it's different sets of groups of people.
It's
how do you become a mummer? Do you have to apply or just kind of show up?
It's different. There's different clubs.
You gotta be part of a crew.
Yeah. So this one club, their central theme was Bruce Jenner came out. He was in his gear, his track gear. He was a big proud American, had a big Wheaties sign, or a big Wheaties thing of him on the thing. And then things started getting a little crazy. He disappeared into the fray. He came out as Caitlyn, dressed as a woman, holding up Fruit Loops signs, and with Caitlyn on it because he's a fruit
instead of Wheaties
because he's gay. So
What the hell's wrong with that?
I love it. I think it was hilarious.
Come on, man. Lighten the hell up.
You know what?
Exactly.
It's a Mummers Parade.
2015.
What do they call Mummers? They call them comics.
Are they?
Yeah.
No,
right?
there's different divisions.
I was going to say something worse than that. So I'm glad you chimed in.
I'm just saying. There's
PC.
nowhere in some room. If Cashy was going to do this in public and get filmed, and we were sitting in a room, and I would sit there and go, I can't let you do it.
It's not a good idea.
It's not a good idea.
Only because, like I said, America is a bunch of whiny pussies these days. 10 years ago, 20 years ago, this would have been hilarious.
Yeah.
Nowadays, like you said, everyone's a winner. Everybody's a beautiful duckling, or whatever you want to call it.
It's unreal, man.
So, like I said, when we look back at history, I'm hoping we can all agree, like, oh man, yeah, 2015, I don't know what happened in the world. They went soft for a year, but they bounced back in 2016. But we're off to a bad start. People are not happy with this. Knicks forward Cleanthony Early, and this again, keep in mind, this was just one wall report ago. That Knicks, not Knicks, actually it's Nets, but still New York player. Actually, it was Nick. It was Derek Williams, I believe, who got robbed. I remember he get a strip club. He brought some hoes home. They robbed him. So Cleanthony Early, who plays for the Knicks, after, mind you, they just played that night against the Pistons, and he played in the game. He went out. It's a Tuesday. He went to a strip club. Had to make it rain. Cleanthony had to make it rain. On his Uber drive home, he got boxed in by 3 cars who pulled him over, robbed him of his gold necklace, robbed him of his gold caps on his teeth. How did you know he had that?
Wait. This is an Uber robbery?
No, the Uber driver just happened, for all we know, he just happened to be the guy driving.
So you're getting set up on Uber now.
The robbers knew. Again, I don't know if the Uber driver was in on it. He didn't get hurt. He didn't get harmed, mind you, but maybe he just didn't have anything to rob of. He's not, Uber driver. He's not an NBA player.
Uber driver.
He has at least a cell phone with GPS.
I knew his Uber stuff.
But the best part, he got shot. Keep in mind, he also got shot in his knee, just for good measure. After complying and giving them what they asked for, he gave him a quick pop to the knee, and they drove off.
It's not right, man.
Of course, it's not
all
right.
Wrong. Come on, you gotta take his stuff. At least shoot him.
Hell yeah, if he complies.
Yeah, that's not right.
For a 6'10" NBA player, you think you kind of need those knees?
Oh man, that's a whole setup. That's a vindictive setup.
I mean, come on, strip clubs on a Tuesday.
Yeah,
like,
come on.
And you weren't with anyone. I mean, he may have met his friends, but you were driving home alone. Like, you gotta, if you're an NBA player and you're gonna go like that, you gotta roll the crew, man.
I don't
gotta watch your back.
I don't know. It's probably. I would check. I would check with that Uber driver and see how often he used the same dude.
I'm sure he got questions.
Yeah, man.
This is actually a thing I mentioned this on a previous wall report months ago, but it's a follow up now. Ragnar, he's the Vikings unofficial mascot. He was paid by them. He got paid $1,500 a game, which sounds like a great haul. But then he was when he held out for more money. He said he needs to pay me $20,000 a game, or I'm not doing it anymore. So naturally, which by the way, the statistics on that, I know we don't talk statistics here, but the statistics show that would have been a 1,233% raise, which I think would make any of us millionaires.
Yes.
So they obviously said no to that. They set him free. So he officially, this weekend before the game, he traded his trademark beard, and put a cheesehead hat on. He is now a Packers fan. He's so done with the Packers. He's so done with the Vikings that he is now officially a Packers fan.
Yeah, big deal.
Yeah,
come on.
So he's traded. I mean, you can never, if you're a diehard for that, like that bad, even though they screwed you in your eyes, you can't just become a fan of another team. It doesn't just work that way.
Especially a close rival, right? I mean,
the rival. Like, I mean, I'm pretty sure I don't know the name of that guy, but everyone's seen that one Eagles fan with he wears the pads and the face paint, the black. I don't know who he is.
Yeah, he was always on their local station.
But yeah, he's not just gonna wake up one day and be like, you know what, Cowboys fan. Fan. Like in your head, you don't.
What they call him, Arson Arnie or something like that. Back in the day, had a name. Yeah,
a name. There's always one in every crowd. Like the sign guy for the Flyers. It was a long time.
They had the fat guy up in the top thing who got a job. Go figure.
Wait a minute. Wait a second.
You didn't know that?
That's the guy that was dancing on top?
Yeah, he's their in-game.
God. I can't. My daughter and I always used to laugh and look at him at the Flyers games.
They hired him.
I can't believe that because we look and we see him. I once at a game mentioned that. I said, Jules, isn't that the guy? That looks like the guy that used to dance. We used to look, and we don't see him up there dancing anymore.
No, that's why.
That's him.
He's supposed to earn the paycheck.
I don't believe that.
Please keep your clothes on, and we'll give you a job.
Pretty much. Yeah.
He was good, and we always wondered what happened to him. And he's actually the one doing the stupid interviews over there.
That's him now.
Oh my! That's how he got hired.
He got
just
hired.
like that.
Job. All you can do is make an ass out of yourself publicly.
Shit, I've been trying.
You should be rich.
I know.
You should be rich,
Cash. He does it for free.
What am I doing wrong?
Damn. Former Redskins defensive end Dexter Manley.
Dexter Manley couldn't read or write.
Do you remember him?
Yeah, Redskins.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah. I just said that. So yeah.
I didn't bring this up because I knew it was going to be.
Dexter was
he
back
can't read or write, but he can speak.
That's cool.
The things he's saying though aren't very PC. They were talking. He was on television. He was on live television, mind you, saying this. They were talking about RG3. He says, "Well, black quarterbacks are more mobile because they're just used to running from the police."
That's true.
I will preface that obviously Dexter Manley is a black man, so he can say that, I guess. Technically,
no, he can't because now they're calling him a racist. So apparently you can't. You can say the N-word in the locker room, but you can't. You can't call.
There's a few things that you can't say and you can't do. I mean, you can't call the NBA racist against blacks. You can't say that because it's just not true.
Yeah.
Can you be a black man called racist against blacks? Can you?
I don't know, man.
I don't know. I'm asking for a ruling on that.
It was in my list of stories, and I said, you know what, this is
you
in
knew
the
that
world
was,
report.
You knew it was world report.
I knew it was in the world, and there were 3 cases people saying he's racist.
Dexter Manley's racist.
Yeah, apparently
he's racist.
But I don't think
would you his eyes closed.
They don't like black people.
Would you ever say like would we be called racist if we're like, oh, white quarterbacks are so slow because they're always in a room playing video games? Like, what we'd be like, oh, Mike is racist. Like.
Maybe Dexter's right.
Maybe. I'm not gonna cut you. I'd love to touch it. Actually, you know what? Maybe he is right.
Maybe he is right.
30. This is something I knew you would absolutely love, and I was gonna mention this when I was talking about things that would change in 2016. I hate fan voting. I hate fan voting when it comes to
especially on the internet, man.
So 33-year-old Phoenix Coyotes defenseman John Scott will start and be captain in the NHL All-Star game. Now, if you're asking yourself who is John Scott,
they joked him.
You have a very good reason to ask that because he's already been cut 3 times this year.
Not anymore.
Yep. He has 1 point in 11 games, and he's going to do again. He's 33 years old, and he has 5 career goals.
And he's an NBA All-Star.
No, he's an NHL.
NHL. I'm sorry, NHL All-Star.
So yeah, you really, really need to.
So that sounds like somebody they were joking. They pumped this guy. That's like a lot of votes.
It's like the Sanjaya on American Idol.
Yeah.
I don't watch that show, but I remember the whole thing where everybody knew he was awful. But it's real funny. Keep voting for him.
We know how that happened. Sanjaya was all Howard Stern. He bloated him out to unbelievable. Yeah, he got every day they were voting for him because of that.
Again, this is why
that's something happened. Something had to happen with this guy too somewhere where they got everybody to vote for him.
That's why, again, you're not going to be able to relate to this because you don't like wrestling, but when wrestling has a show called Tough Enough, where you vote for, they were voting for who you wanted to keep on the show. There were like a bunch of athletic, strong, good-looking men who were good at wrestling when they should have been here, but everyone kept voting for this one fat Southern kid. He was big fat belly, he was last in every drill, but it was fan voting, and he survived week after he got to the final 2. Finally, the joke was up, and they let the other guy win. So, but again, why do we let fans vote? We already realize people are stupid.
But they watch.
People are stupid.
They get the vote to watch.
Well, who's at home going, I can't wait to watch the All-Star game? John Scott, man, lacing them up.
Well, they might be, man. It might be something. There's some kind of reward there for somebody.
There's gotta be. I'm gonna go here. 48-year-old man Matthew Bromson. He was arrested outside of Gillette Stadium before the Winter Classic. They searched his car and they found just the weirdest assortment of weapons. They found
I saw that. Yeah,
he had a really rusty meat cleaver.
He's gonna take some limbs.
He had a crossbow. He had multiple swords. He had a katana. He had a taser, an stun gun, which are two different things for the record.
Yeah,
found that out. Yeah, he
stun gun is distance.
Yeah, the one that shoots, and one you have to actually do the up close. But yeah, they said he wasn't posing a threat, but somebody just thought he looked suspicious walking around, and ding ding.
That's what.
Those are the weirdest weapons to find. I'll post a picture on our Twitter account, but yeah, they're the weirdest weapons. A giant meat cleaver.
I have one.
You have one? Yeah, you have a reason to have one.
Did you watch that Winter Classic? It bored me. It just.
I actually had to work.
You know what? The fun of watching that is over. It's not even. It's not a novelty anymore.
I think it's a fun thing if you're live there because you're not used to seeing that.
But also too, this is like the show. And what I tell you, stay away from that. It's a low scoring game.
No way, not that one.
Wasn't it
5-1?
Oh, I thought it was 2-1.
No.
I thought it was 2-1.
Listen, and I was all over Boston too because Montreal was getting their ass kicked all month long because of 24/7. You know, with the Epic. Well, actually, it's not HBO. It's Epic, but I guess it's HBO too. They own it. Yeah, they must own it.
But when it was in Philadelphia, it was at Citizens Bank, right?
Yeah,
and so. That's what it's for, the novelty of like, oh, we're watching a hockey game.
Gillette
outdoors.
Stadium was a great place to have it because it's squared out. You know, it's good view all the way around. It's probably the first stadium I saw where they didn't put it in a stinking baseball stadium.
Yeah, because baseball is a whole different. This is a football stadium.
Yeah,
so
it was all around. Yeah,
it makes sense.
Yeah, you could see into the
ice.
They
had it in Wrigley.
This is the wrong type. This is the first time they sport.
Did they have it like LA the one year or something like that?
LA had it?
I thought they had something really weird, like where you shouldn't have outdoor hockey.
No, they had an outdoor hocky game for the minor leagues in Las Vegas.
Yeah, right.
Maybe that's probably not what I'm thinking of, but I'll look into it.
Desert Heat put an end to that.
No, it actually was kind of successful.
I have a couple of stories that they're really just to make you happy, because I know we always give you shit for your tech, your mishaps.
I'm pretty good the last couple weeks, man. We're
back-to-back weeks, and you've been fine. But I wanted to show you that even it can happen to the greats too. The ESPN. Two stories here. ESPN Deportes had their ad hyping the Cotton Bowl, which was the Alabama versus Michigan State game. And the entire length of the ad, they were showing Michigan Wolverines highlights as Michigan State, saying, no, Michigan State Universidad. But they're only showing Michigan highlights. So there you go. They messed up that one. And they followed that up with during a bowl game, I forget which game it was, the North Carolina game, I believe it was. They're showing graphics for the main stories throughout bowl season, and one of them was where Boise State blows out Northern Iowa, and it has a little sub thing that says they held the Panthers, who are Northern Iowa, to X amount of points. The only problem is Northern Iowa is not even a Division I or an FBS school. They were not in this bowl. This whole every stat that they pulled didn't actually happen. So Cashy, it's not just you. ESPN makes mistakes as well. So if you want to, you can apply for a job now. You have that dream job at ESPN. When they'll look at your highlight reel and say, hey, you didn't make those kind of mistakes.
Yeah, well.
There was a Twitter campaign that I found just absolutely ridiculous. And this is 2015 to a T. We all know the story of the Akron police department, guys who killed a little 12-year-old, or actually not little, he was like 6 foot, but Tamir Rice, the little kid, they shot him, he died. But they were, said that, you're not getting arrested, blah, 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 blah. So it was actually trending on Twitter for the whole day. It was hashtag no justice, no LeBron. Basically telling, LeBron, and had a whole graphic with it with, LeBron, you need to sit. They were tweeting them, and everyone's trying to get them, you need to sit out until there's justice for Tamir, and these officers are locked out or in prison. And somebody asked LeBron, somebody was asked by an interviewer, and LeBron in much more politically correct words said, "You're insane." No, he goes, "No, that's not going to happen." Like, why should this be LeBron's problem that I'm now going to lose my money and cost my team wins, and for something that has nothing to do with me, but because I just happen to be from the same hometown? Yep. So that's just 2015 to a T. Like I can't take it anymore.
Yeah, I hear you. Loud and clear.
Memphis Tigers college football team. Their safety Regis Ball. After they lost in the Birmingham Bowl to Auburn, but Regis Ball had a good game. He had two interceptions, so he wanted a game ball to take home with him. Unfortunately, there were no game balls around. So what did he do? He found an Auburn ball boy. He spear tackles him to the ground.
Takes the ball,
rips the ball out of his ball bag. As he's walking out, big flips off the crowd who's now booing him. It was on the Auburn sideline. It was obviously the Auburn ball boy. They're booing him. He's flipping them off double birds of the stands.
A video of that?
Oh, yeah.
I
There's a video of it,
gotta
of course.
check that out.
Yeah, I will definitely put that
But
up.
that's one for
you know
us.
it's going to be there.
Yeah.
He wanted a game ball. So after the game, he was, Memphis was not happy with it. So they kicked him off the team. Well, the problem, he's a senior. He has no more games left to play. So, boo-hoo.
Goodbye.
You kick off the team. It's like getting suspended from school. It's like getting detention when you graduate high school because you did something wrong in graduation. Like, I'm already done. What are you going to do? You can't do anything. Funny side note about him, by the way, is his brother is Marcus Ball. Marcus Ball is the Carolina Panthers bat-wielding Odell Beckham antagonizer. Do you remember that? With the whole, he's the guy wielding the bat. That's his brother. That's Regis' brother, Marcus.
That makes some sense here, man.
Apparently antagonizing runs in the Ball clan.
It's making sense. Yep.
And finally, the Spurs mascot. And if you remember, this is actually 6 years ago, and the date was actually Halloween. If I found that out, was when the Spurs had a bat running around through the stadium or the arena in the middle of the game, and Manu Ginobili snatched it out of midair.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. So apparently there was another bat in the game. Not during it. Actually, it was pregame. Bat running around loose, and the Spurs mascot, who I'm going to say it can't possibly have been on purpose. It had to be a coincidence. He was wearing a Batman costume when his bat started running loose, and he caught it in the net within 60 seconds. For the record, I couldn't catch a loose bat in an arena if you gave me the entire day to do it. He caught it in 60 seconds, but he's wearing and there's of course video of this as well. He's wearing a Batman costume.
That's
like,
awesome.
Because you like
that way they don't see it coming.
It's not like you saw the bat, went inside, and you don't just happen to have Batman costumes fit for Spurs guy. Like I feel like what are the odds of him having that on? But the Batman Spurs mascot caught a loose bat. I don't know what's going on in San Antonio, but apparently they have a real dingy old arena that just keeps getting flooded with.
They don't want to touch nothing over there.
And that is this week's Ball Report.
Yeah, nice work.
Little history today, Mike. This is the 17th anniversary of the infamous Hulk Hogan finger poke to win the championship.
Oh, Jesus.
Finger poke.
Yeah.
What the hell is that?
Finger poke of doom.
NWO time.
It's an old WCW mishap. The only company that has more mishaps than the Eagles in 20s, of this past year.
Yeah, well, WWE. What are you going to do with that?
You're going to watch it.
Yep. All right, guys. Good show.
Always is.
We covered everything, I think.
What else is going to be a good show?
Tell them, B. February 1st. Steam Pub.
606 2nd Street Pike, Southampton.
Look, and even if you hate us, even if you think we're awful,
just show up.
The food's good.
Yeah, the food's good. Yeah.
And the alcohol's good. It's alcohol.
Yeah. Come taste the band.
Come boo us.
Something.
Hey, we got a lot of best of Bucks counties under our belts.
There you go.
So
that's February 1st. Be there early. Come around 6:30, get a table, drink it up. We'll go on about 8 o'clock. We're about an hour and a half show. Got a little microphone there. You want to come up and question the boys? Try to stump us, whatever. Hopefully, by then we'll have a coach for our local football team we can talk about.
No, I think we'll have people come up and they'll say an athlete's name and tell you to pronounce it back.
Yeah, there you go. We called it Rip Cashy for 15 minutes. We'll verbally take him down in his English. That's okay. I can take it. Part of the show. It's why I'm the king. That's what goes on here. I'm Cashy the King. I got the chef to left, Brendan B, Mikey Wall. This is the Sports Goombahs. We'll catch you next week. Have a good one.